you ever wonder what makes a great gamer? Whether you just started or have been enjoying video games all your life, great gaming is not only about cheering on our teammates, but also being there to pick us up when we're down.
Guardian down.
This hobby is a part of our life, and whatever we decide to play, let's all remember to be good to each other. We're a Destiny 2 podcast that focuses on three things: promoting a positive gaming community, sharing news around the industry and Destiny 2, and discussing thought-provoking topics in the game. We're Guardian Down Cast. Your stories, your community, your destiny. What's up, Guardian? Welcome to episode 307 of Guardian Downcast. I'm your host, ToddtheGatr, and I'm a Day One Guardian who loves gaming and especially the Destiny franchise. We're the podcast that's all about your stories, your community, and your destiny. This week, my co-host, Kingsleymac, is back with us again. How you doing, Mike?
Doing great. Glad to be here.
Thank you, sir. For those of you who may just discovered our little podcast, we are a weekly gaming show with an emphasis on the Destiny franchise, and we like to sprinkle in some entertainment and other topics, talk about our week and stuff relating to our hobby from time to time as well. We've been producing audio episodes for almost 6 years now, and now we do a live show on video. I mean, it's what everybody's doing, right? Everybody's doing the video shows, and so why not? Obviously, if you can't make the live show tonight and interact with us, you can always watch our replay on my Twitch channel and my YouTube channel. It's ToddtheGatr, 2 Ds, G-A-T-R, ToddtheGatr. And you can always watch the replays whenever you like. Before we get started tonight, I just want to make a quick announcement, a little housekeeping here, that the following 2 Thursdays, June 12th and June 19th, we will not have live shows as per usual. Kingsleymac was going to be on vacation, but his has been delayed a little bit. But I'm going to be across the pond in the UK for that 2 week period of time, almost 2 week period of time. And but rest assured, I do have something in store for you guys for the next 2 weeks. I've already been putting some stuff together for it. It's going to be like a special show. And I did bring my laptop, so if something in the tweet comes up information wise, I will definitely mention that and insert that into the shows as well before I publish them for the week. So we're still going to have a show, but it's going to be more of our normal audio show. We won't have a live show. And if my internet's good, maybe I'll even connect with Kingsley on Discord and we can record something on it. We'll get into that. We'll just have to see what Bungie's going to release in the next 2 weeks as far as information on the new Edge of Fate. So stay tuned for that. But we will have episodes consistently the next 2 weeks. Even though I'm going to be in the UK, we will have something for you as far as our audio episodes. So, well, in this episode, Kingsley and I are going to go over, of course, our week in gaming and life. Next, we've had many Destiny content creators share their experiences as they were invited to a special preview of the Edge of Fate. So we'll be discussing what we found. And keep in mind that we will not be spoiling any story aspects, but we will be talking about Armor 3.0, the weapon changes, and some other quality of life improvements that'll be coming to Edge of Fate. So if you don't want to be spoiled with any of that, and I feel bad for you because they're releasing so much information now, but you might have to turn the podcast off. But look, first talk, first,
good. This is official Destiny stuff.
It is official. It's not considered a spoiler, yeah. But if you want to go in totally dark, it really sucks, but you're probably not going to be able to listen to Destiny podcast for several weeks here until, July 15th when it comes out. But like I said, just want to give you fair warning. We'll be talking about some of the changes that will be coming to Edge of Fate. And if most of the people that are here tonight probably realize that, we're going to be talking about that anyway, and they're here for it. So as we do nearly every week, we'll look to our Discord community for any questions for the show. And hopefully those of you live with us tonight in the chat will post any questions you have also. And as I mentioned, we encourage you to speak up and share your opinions and thoughts on what we're going to be talking about tonight. That's the one thing I love about the live shows. So don't be shy. If you're in the chat, and you're either on Twitch or on YouTube or in our Discord community, feel free to enter something in the chat if you have a question or you have some input on it. And, We might even flash it on the screen. So keep that in mind tonight. We're also going to go over our results and comments for our GDC question of the week. Every week I ask a random question every Monday morning typically, and we share the results live on our show for that week. So if you want to participate in our next question of the week, look for that channel in our GDC section of channels. And like I said, we might even share some comments of it as well. Some exciting new information tonight. So if everyone's ready, let's roll.
Hey, thanks for listening to Guardian Downcast. There are several ways you can contact us. First, you can find us on X at Guardian Downcast. Or you can find us on our Instagram at Guardian Downcast and see what pics and reels ToddtheGatr and his podcast guests want to share with you guys. We have a brand new website too. Just visit guardiandowncast.com, where you can find all of our contact info, leave us a voicemail, give our show a rating or review, search for any past episodes, or even give back to our community. Also, don't forget to sign up for future updates to the show, where we'll also have random drawings throughout the year, and you may win a gift card or even some GDC merch. And finally, you can send us an email at guardiandowncast@gmail.com. Our community thrives on interaction, so get involved and check us out.
All right, Kingsley, let's get into it, man. What have you been up to this week? I'll start with you, and of course, then I'll mention all of the myriad of stuff I've been doing this week. But I'll start with you, man. How's your week been going so far?
Yeah, talk about gaming, then I'll talk about other entertainment. Been a pretty chill week. I mean, work is great. Got a couple new customers, funny enough, even though like it's hard to tell how people are like reacting to everything right now. But
true.
I even got a customer that was in a different state, which isn't that unheard of anymore because of you can do so much remotely. And it was just in Idaho. So just Southern Idaho is considered northern Utah anyways. We're all kind of like the same region because It's only like an hour to the border.
Sure.
So hour and a half. But this customer is in Idaho Falls. Anyways, but a great customer, been helping them out, getting their systems all, optimized and stuff.
Right.
And busy, was going to be going to Las Vegas with the wife next week to do a bunch of fun stuff, Cirque du Soleil shows, other fun things. But had to push it back for a couple things. Like we have a dog that's really old and he's getting closer to end of life all the time. And he had some minor problems, but the bigger issue was just even like she wasn't able to get one of the days off of work she wanted. And also the person that was going to watch the dog for us all of a sudden wasn't available. Luckily, we didn't have everything booked away on the trip that couldn't be changed. So we're not out any money, but we're going to be pushing it back to July probably, close to the release stuff, but everything should be good there. Still looking forward to it. So
yeah, it's funny you should say that, Kingsley. I'm in the same situation, man. I got a dog that's 15. She's a black lab Rottweiler mix, and last time we went on our trip, if you remember, we went to Washington D.C. For the holidays. Her back legs just seized up and she couldn't even walk. They had to kind of tilt her up. She was leaning on stuff. And now, of course, everything else is going out. Like, she'll be laying in bed and just, you'll see a poop come out. I'm like, okay. I'm thinking, okay.
Oh, yeah. Well,
things like that.
Your dog may have the same thing as ours. It's very common in some dogs to get, I forget the actual name, IBD or something, but invertebrate disc disease or something when they get older. Yeah. And it pinches some nerves on the back half where they can't walk as well.
Yeah.
And they become incontinent also sometimes.
Well, she'll just be walking all of a sudden and she'll be like, oh, I guess something's coming out. I'm like,
yeah,
it smells like a freaking dog kennel in parts of my house now. It just drives me nuts. But I'm sorry I interrupted, but
we've never I didn't really have dogs growing up, and my wife did, but she never had to deal with like a end of life situation with her own dog. The only other dog that was her own, unfortunately, passed early from a car accident. Oh. So we've never dealt with the senior end of life situation yet. And dog's still okay, but I could see within the next 3 months to a year, probably we're going to have more discussions on, is it worth the euthanasia or whatever.
I might even be below a year. I think I've got 3 months, maybe 6 months if I'm pushing it.
Yeah.
But I mean, she still is energetic. She still eats her food. My God, this dog lives to eat.
Yeah, those are good signs.
Yeah. So, and when I don't see that anymore, then I'll know it's coming time.
Yeah.
Well, that sucks. You had to move your trip though. That sucks.
It kind of sucks because we're looking forward to it, but we're not out anything, and
yeah, that's true.
Both of us are pretty flexible with things. So like, whatever. It's like it'll be coming soon enough. and then doing lots of interesting gaming stuff still. Occasionally, still in Destiny, I'll do some raids. I'm sure I did one with the last. Oh, Saturday we did a raid,
we did.
Right?
The Garden of Salvation. Mm-hmm.
Yep. So that's always fun.
It is.
We helped someone get.
Cap 99.
Why was I going to say Telesto?
Cap 99. Divinity. Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, I was going to mention that.
Always pretty easy for our crew since we have a lot of experience with that.
Yep.
We're even getting you to like I would say a B level A- raider where you can start doing all the Sherpas soon.
No, I don't want to do any Sherpa. I just want to hang out.
You're like, I don't want to.
I want to hang out and talk to the chat and chill out while you guys Sherpa it. I don't want to do it.
Oh, that's true. You're a streamer. You can never Sherpa anymore. In fact, you're going to have to start doing the things soon like what Tech does if you get bigger, where you have to mute us and start talking to the chat and know when to come back and vice versa and everything.
I am no Dan Finity. Dan Finity, I don't know how he does it, but he loves to Sherpa. But I've talked to him before. I've interviewed him, and he says, you just got to have a lot of good people around you that don't mind Sherping, and you're just there just for the ride, you know? You're just trying to keep it entertaining for everybody. Yeah.
But then, still playing Assassin's Creed, Valhalla, and some other games. But I hopped due to actually recommendation from Dorath in the chat, other games. And obviously a lot of people know of this game. I'm curious, people speak up if you like this game. I know there's hidden pockets of you. And I'll tell you more what I learned about it. I'm not super into it, but I had no idea that I would be interested in, The Division 2.
I was shocked when you told me.
Yeah. So I think the biggest problem is people don't know what this game is. I didn't. I figured it was another PvP focused, like Call of Duty, Battlefield, something with I heard it had a campaign element, but a lot of these games will have, a campaign, but then the main part is like PvP or whatever. No, it's made by Ubisoft. Well, not made by Ubisoft, but distributed by Ubisoft. Mm-hmm. And it is pretty much all campaign. In fact, it has a very small PvP section that's kind of dying off. The rumor was their developers,
the Dark Zone.
They had no one does the Dark Zone, but that doesn't matter because the PvE side of it has only gotten better and things have been continually added over the years. I didn't know the game came out in 2019, but it's had one DLC was kind of included, and then there was another one, but another one just came out 2 weeks ago. Wow. And it's getting a resurgence all the time. And think of Destiny, but realistic action shooter on Earth, right? You're taking over Washington, D.C. and New York and everything like that.
It's third person, too.
And it's third person. The third person isn't bothering me. The weapon feel... Look, here's the thing. We all know Destiny has the best gunplay, but that doesn't mean other games aren't close. This game is pretty close. It's not that bad.
I played a ton of Division 2. It's a great game.
Yeah.
Just ran out of stuff to play.
Yeah, it's... Okay, so when did you hop in at the very beginning then?
Very beginning.
You just ran out of stuff?
Very beginning. Okay. It was those years... Well, it was those years when I was playing Call of Duty, and I was so burnt out on Call of Duty. This is before Destiny 2. Destiny came out. So before 2014. I mean, Division 2 has been out. I'm talking about
Division 2. Have you played Division 2?
I played Division 1 and Division 2. Yeah, I played both of them.
Okay.
There was another one called Crysis. Do you ever remember playing that game? It's a first-person shooter.
No.
It was on the Crytek engine. Oh, my God. It's the most beautiful game I've ever seen. But anyway, sorry, I'm off track. But, yeah, I did play it. I thought it was fun. The bosses I remember the last time I played, the bosses were very bullet spongy, where you just sit there and just wail on bosses and they wouldn't even go down.
I heard that. I think it's been all these things have been dramatically changed, where generally it has favorable reviews from everyone who plays it right now. And I was telling you before the show too, where Destiny, we'll have these big ups when a DLC comes out, but then it'll drop lower and lower each year. I mean, not much, where our base low is kind of around that 15 to 20 just for Steam. Mm-hmm. But Division has always been kind of constant with even slight ups the whole time. Of course, it has a big up right now because of DLC, but it has RPG elements. It has building that's even more advanced than Destiny. Now, of course, Destiny is adding some more here soon, which it'll rival each other. But you have classes, specializations. You can do with 3 different options of changing exotics. So with rerolls or crafting or this or that. Think about all the Destiny systems times 3. Mm-hmm. It has raids, 8-person raids. Mm-hmm. It has dungeons. It has roguelite like it's off the map it has like these towers you can go through with like 15 floors that go higher and higher and higher.
Yeah.
It has the campaign is with all the DLCs added. People are saying it's between 40 to 60 hours of total content with side missions and replayable bosses that don't get as boring. And they're coming out with an update this year too to make the public space way more lively. So think about, instead of just, you're in patrol on Destiny or patrol in Division 2 and those guys are always going to come out over there when you're in the open zones, right? The open space. Yeah, but no, they're going to change it where it's like more random. And if you interact with them a certain way, they'll interact a different way versus just the static coming out that's always the same each time.
Yeah.
They have seasons that they've been keeping up with all the time that I saw like all the rewards and the season pass stuff. There's like more you can do there than even Destiny does too.
Oh, yeah.
So I'm not saying like anything against that, but like I'm really actually kind of excited that I finally have considered trying Division 2 because I was talking to Max and a couple other people. People like us did not realize how much of a PvE game it is. And I want to get the word out there for people that are looking for another RPG type action MMO like Destiny, but you're fighting real people versus aliens. Division 2 might be something you could be interested in.
It's almost exclusively PvE. The only thing that was PvP was the Dark Zone, and I never went to the Dark Zone anyways. I was too afraid to lose my shit. I didn't lose my gear. And I remember the only thing I remember about Division 2, and this is I realized this was after Destiny. I was playing Destiny 1 like a ton, and I was looking for something else to play. I was getting Destiny fatigue back then. I played so much Destiny. But I remember a lot of the backpack items and weapon attachments, and it goes deep. Didn't really make much difference back then, but apparently they've done a lot of patches. I've heard good things. I've heard that the developers have never given up on it, and they keep redoing stuff on it. I was there before the season pass stuff. They added that after I quit. Yeah.
It sounds a lot like a Cyberpunk example that maybe didn't release in the best state, but it's continually been getting better and better over the years. They're also revamping their new player experience coming up here soon too to make it easier and stuff. And so, we have some people in the chat like Amazing Taco King and a Joe who's, I forget.
Apex Cuddler. He says that's where he came from before Destiny was
Yeah, I'll have to talk to you guys some more and get some tips and everything. I just barely went in it like an hour the other night, but even doing it that quickly, that little amount, I'm like, okay, I should have checked out this game earlier. And especially since I had Ubisoft Plus, I'm not out anything, but it's also really good prices right now. You can pick up the base for like 15 or so, and then you can get the full thing with all the DLC for like 40. Like that's hardly anything.
I never bought the DLC, so I can't give it a proper comparison because I played the base game and I was like, okay, I shot the chopper, game's over, I'm out. Yeah, at the very end, you shoot a chopper.
Well, anyways, all I have to say about that for now. But I'm actually again, pretty surprised that I would even like it at all, let alone how much I'm liking it so far.
That's good, man. That's good. I mean, and now's the time to play other games because, I mean, let's face it, unless you really like the dungeon crawl, there's really not much to do in Destiny right now with the Bride of the Nine. You never were very interested
even year round.
Yeah.
I play other games too because I don't care about bounty grinding and things like that. I just like new content.
That may change. It may change. We'll talk about that.
No, I'm not going to care about bounty grinding still. I'll talk about that later.
All right, fine. Can't change it.
And then TV. I did watch a couple more episodes of Endor, and I was talking about how finally it's getting better. Now, I left out a couple things. I really kind of talked it up to you the other day. I'm like, I'm liking it a lot more now. And that is true. That's true. But it's still not going to be a show. Like I'm still not like itching to watch it every single night. It's not like, oh my gosh, the best show ever.
Not for everybody.
But finally they have more Empire stuff. I even said at the beginning, I don't know if people remember, I would still prefer. And I know probably they're going to show more tech later, but I wish they're showing it all along. But yeah, the Empire CIA, what's the division called? The FSB, or I forget what it's called. But yeah, that's cool and all. And it's a good story, but
you got me thinking about it.
I still wish there was more tech and more Empire than the amount they're showing so far. However, finally, at the end of episode 3, beginning of episode 4, it got to a pacing that was much better. I felt like the first 2 or 3 episodes were kind of like...
I didn't think they were that good either. The where
You know,
Andor came from and he lost his sister. I didn't care for that either. I was kind of bored.
yeah, and I don't mind where he's coming from, but when they drag it on for like 3 episodes of just showing, they could have, when you talk about movies, and I'm sure we can both agree too, like Friendship could have probably cut like 10, 15 minutes, right?
It was a long.
But they could have cut on the show too, like one less episode or 10 minutes less here and there in episodes of like showing the backstory and just get to the meat a little bit quicker, because they have a good story that they don't need as much filler.
And that's just it. Kingsley, Disney, spinoff Star Wars shows usually pump, they punch you in the gut right off the first. That's almost all streaming shows out there that come out that are new, that are not established, punch you in the gut that first episode, right? They want to get your attention right off the bat. But yeah, I agree. Yeah. Andor was a slow burn. It did start really slow. That's too bad. Yeah,
so too bad. I'm happy to report I like it more, but it's still not like going to be top of my list. But I do need to be fair and say like I do like it more. So I'm happy that it's finally catching on more.
There's like 24 episodes total, I think, for season 1 and 2. I think maybe less, but yeah, just take your time.
And so I have plenty to do. Like I am really busy with all the games I'm playing and occasionally watching some shows. And I've even been busier for work, like doing new research for new customers and stuff like that. So life is good. I'm staying busy. Other than raiding and Destiny, I don't care about doing the dungeon and stuff either. No fault against that. I know people that like dungeons more. It's been kind of fun, but there's nothing that's really holding my attention too much there. And really, looking forward to at least checking out the new Destiny stuff when it comes out. Whether how long it keeps my attention, we'll see. And then some other games coming out this year too. So that's it for me.
Okay. Yeah, I wanted to mention, I wanted to give a shout out to the members of our Garden of Salvation raid team, Allocate, Scarlet KM, Cap99. He was the one trying to get his divinity, and we of course got it for him. And of course, Kingsley Mac. I just wanted to thank everyone who stopped by my Saturday live streams, because I don't really live stream a whole lot other than the show right here. And I'm trying to get a habit of streaming on Saturday nights. That forces me to play some Destiny content. And it's my chance to play with the community and just chill out and reconnect to a lot of the friends in the community that I have. And I just, and then after that, Cap99 and Allocate helped me, started working on my cooperative missions to get my microcosm, because I still don't have that. I never got it because I had to run those cooperative missions. So, and we found out, it did increase. I was only holding up my guardian rank too. So I got to 7, and then I realized it resets, and I got to run 3 of the co-op missions again if I want to get out of 7 and go to 8. But I don't know how motivated I am to do that, because I've already made it to 9 and I was happy at 9. But it was just a fun night. There was really
no the microcosm.
I haven't gotten it yet. I have to run. I have to go back and I have to run the 2 other missions. And then
that's separate than the guardian rank. Technically,
yeah. Oh, it is.
I know they kind of work together.
No, it is. Yeah. It is. And those co-op missions, we played it on the hardest level, and those weren't super easy. They were pretty beefy. I think I died one time even with 2 killers in front of me knocking stuff out. So it was fun though. It was refreshing to play a tough mission like that, and we're going to get into that tonight, because I'm really excited for this coming up. We didn't see any movies in the theater this week. It was my wife's final week of school, and she had some crazy busy days, so we just kind of just chilled for the week and just watched shows at night at the house. We're watching another new movie though. This weekend we're going to go see, if everyone sees my avatar in the Discord, you'll see I have like a radiant, some kind of radiant ornament around my character. Well, all I had to do was watch a trailer of Ballerina, which is what I'm going to see. I'm going to see Ballerina. It's the latest John Wick movie. It takes place during John Wick 3, if you remember, Parabellum, I think it was. But it's starring Ana de Armas, who is, my Lord, she's smoking hot. And she's an assassin. She's beginning her training in the traditions of the Ruscaroma. If you remember Angelica Houston, she ran the dance community there in the previous movies. So you'll know what I'm talking about if you're a John Wick fan. Critics gave it 70% on Rotten Tomatoes, so I'll give my review of that next week. I'll probably be giving it from the UK. I'll be, recording something then. But I was going to ask you how Andor was coming, but you've already told me about that. I did watch the just the Sony State of Play. I just wanted to highlight a few games that looked very interesting to me. And you said you watched it too, and it was kind of, it was okay. Yeah. I mean, they start playing a lot of these, they were talking about the collections. They got some of the fighting game collections coming back. Sony did make
talk about Marathon or Destiny.
Nope, that's funny. Didn't even mention that. But they are making their first fight stick ever, which look really good. It looked very good quality. I've never been a real good fighter. I've never been a fighter game kind of guy. I loved playing those fighter games, but I always sucked at them. I always liked the shooter games instead, the side to side scrolling shooters and stuff. So there was they actually opened the show with Pragmata. It's like a new science fiction game. It looked really good. And, it kind of got some BioShock kind of, you have like a I don't know if it's a humanoid or what, but a little girl that actually is like your pet that she hangs on you.
Yeah, that was weird to me.
It was kind of weird.
Have you heard the term uncanny valley before?
No.
Where they make things that look almost too human, but something still off, so it looks almost freaky.
Right.
That little girl looked kind of freaky to me.
Yeah. She had powers that she could work cooperatively with you in boss fights and stuff. 2026, we don't know when exactly. Romeo is a Dead Man. It's an ultra violent science fiction hack and slasher, and that looked bloody good, man. I mean, I like that kind of stuff. But that's 2026 as well. But the new James Bond game, did you see that? What did you think of the new James Bond game?
Yeah, the graphics looked lame. They looked like they were kind of...
Really?
They looked like they were old school graphics to me.
I actually like the graphics. Yeah. I mean, it looked like a very good cinematic video game to play. We'll have to see if it's like...
you like realistic graphics. You should look at it again. It's not up to standards, but maybe it's a pre-release video.
Who knows? So. I always loved... games as a story, like with Metal Gear Solid and stuff. And I'm hoping it's something like that where you have to kind of be stealthy and stuff, but we'll have to see. And of course, Ghost of Yotai. I mean, enough said. That's going to be an awesome game when it comes out.
Well, they didn't show anything
other
than like a 10-second
it's just another cutscene. Just another trailer cutscene in the front. I did watch 2 more episodes of Murderbot on Apple TV. I have to say, like, it's very funny. It's a very funny show. America's Got Talent audition started. That's my little summer indulgence. Kind of my junk food show for the summer. I always love watching it because you get people doing the dumbest shit on stage, but it's so funny to watch. Love, Death, and Robots has another season out on Netflix. So far, they're really good. I'm really enjoying them. They're short and sweet little stories and really good. And per Necromancer's recommendation, I began watching Department Q on Netflix. And so far, I think I'm on episode 3. I was kind of getting into it. So I'll let you know more once I finish that one, Necromancer. And also JD Kent recommended Duster. And, I watched the first episode of that. I kind of like the 70s feel, that 70s timeline. And, like I said, I've only watched 1 episode. So as I get more into that, I'll give more of my opinion on that. So, time, man, time is everything. Mike Birbiglia had a new stand-up special out called The Good Life. I gotta say, I love his stuff, man. He's a very story-oriented comic, and he ties in his props. To his comedy shows. This last one didn't land for me. So, The Good Life, I mean, it's worth watching, I guess, but just keep in mind, it wasn't as good as his last ones if you're a big Mike Birbiglia fan. Mrs. Gator and I are in the middle of watching The Last of Us so far. I'm really liking it. I think I'm on episode 4 on that. MasterChef is our indulgence for the summer. We like to see, the chefs, torture these home cooks to see who's the best home cook out there. And finally, I'm watching a new reality show starring Henry Dean Stanton. You might know him from Walking Dead, where he makes all of Europe his board game. It starts with a group of strangers that are deprived of their senses. They're wearing blindfolds, digital ones. Look like VR glasses, but they close the shutters on them. And they have no idea where they are. And the object is to be the closest to guess where they are on each stop of the week. The first stop, I think, was Rome. The second stop, which was this episode, I won't say because I don't want to spoil it, but they were in somewhere in Switzerland. So that was really good. And, there's drama, and it's a reality show. It's all the usual stuff that you usually have to deal with when you put a bunch of people in a bus that can't see anything outside it. But it's definitely different. The way they took it on is, it's a different take on reality shows. And, I don't know. I thought it would look pretty good. Life of Chuck comes out next weekend when I'm going to be in the UK. So I'm either going to watch it in the UK if I find a movie house to watch, or we're going to have to watch it when I get back. But, definitely don't want to miss that. I don't know if you guys saw it, but, Mark Hamill was on, one of the late shows this week talking about it. And he goes, it's just a show everyone needs to see right now. And he says, I fully recommend you go into it not knowing anything about it. So, I'm looking forward to that. And of course, 28 Years Later is coming out, 2 weeks from now. I'll be back I'll still be in the UK, but that'll be out on the 20th. So check that one out as well. There's a couple of really good movies coming out just around the corner here. But that's it for me, man. We got a ton to talk about in the Destiny verse tonight. So, if everyone's good with that, just looking at the chat here, JD Kent, the first 10 minutes of Department Q is crazy. Yes, it is. It definitely surprised me. What did I say? The first episode of streaming shows, they got to punch you in the gut. That's how they keep you hooked in to watch the rest of it. Department Q has already had 3 movies made from the book series. Okay. That's good to know. It's an English, murder mystery or suspense show. So, I'm kind of getting used to that, but I'm liking it so far. And the animation opening. Yeah, I do like the animation opening for Duster, JD Kent. I thought that was good too. So, Project Goot. How you doing? Thanks for joining us in the chat. All right, let's get into it. We're going to actually going to mash together the TWID, whatever you want to call it, and our impressions of a lot of what the content creators have been talking about this week. We're just going to mash it all together in one segment. So I guess, let me say this. For now, it's time for This Week in Destiny.
Hey folks, Laz here with GDC Today. Do you have some litigation that you need stamped? Maybe some signatures, some I's dotted, some T's crossed? Well, we don't do that here. We just do some random chit-chat and all that. And you're listening to Guardian Downcast.
All right, Kingsley, This Week in Destiny for June 5th. And we're not going to go verbatim at all tonight. We're just going to jump kind of all around because there's parts of, I watched Dado's video. I watched, of course, Aztecross video. Also Scarrow and a couple others. I think Mr. Ruffle Waffles had an actual meeting where they were actually able to ask questions from their communities to the Bungie. I think it was Tyson Green and Allison Lures, which is the story specialist. And ask questions about, what they expect. And we'll brush on that as well tonight. But, The main thing is, and the Edge of Fate impressions, like I said, all the videos are out now and they talk about the exotics. They talk about the new armor 3.0. They talk about how the stats are going to be changing on our armor. So, where do we want to jump in here, Kingsley?
They kind of did a recap here at the beginning of talking about some videos to check out.
Yes.
And we can at least mention them and then kind of read some of the text around that.
Yeah.
It's an interesting way that they've released this. It's kind of like all over the place and confusing, yet at the same time. Yeah, it kind of feels that way. But at the same time, they are doing a pretty good job doing it this way because at least they're also promoting the videos in the TWID and then they kind of have a question and answer section afterwards.
Okay.
So
yeah.
I think what they're kind of doing here is hoping that the streamers will get more people interested, and then they're filling in more details as it goes along. Because when the streamers first started coming out with these videos, people had a lot of questions still. And there's a lot of information in our community about people still thinking like all our weapons and all our armor is going to be useless. No, that's not true. No. And yes, you will probably still want to get the new stuff, but they actually are converting over pretty good 95% of the time. And a lot of streamers, like Dado had one of the best videos of kind of explaining, answering a lot of these questions, but then also Bungie did a pretty good job in the TWID today too.
Yeah,
so we
did.
can kind of
they did.
help answer some of that also.
Well, the topic,
and we'll know more as the weeks go on. It's not like we can know all the details now, nor should we care about every little detail, because it's not like you're going to remember all these stats anyways, right? You're going to memorize them. This whole long list we're going over now, you just kind of have to, you have to revert back to the twit on your own if you care, but
What's up, Dorath? How you doing? Speaking of which, you were just talking about Dorath. Well, what they list here for topics is the Edge of Fate hands-on previews are here. Let's talk about tiers and exotic armor. We're going to get into that. The Prophecy, of course, is in the Rite of the Nine this week. The Adept rotation calendar, which they've already mentioned in 2 TWAB, so we don't need to go over it again. If you want to go over what is actually dropping in the Rite of the Nine this week and future weeks, up I think to launch, I think, of the new Edge of Fate, there's a full schedule in there. You can look and see when you want to jump in and maybe get the Ludapalooza week at the very end there, where they're giving all kinds of extra stuff out on drops when you kill enemies. And of course, Pride Month, we mentioned that last week. Pride Month is here. They have new shaders. They have a new, not a new, but a classic emblem as well to get, and just by donating to their respective charities. And it's all listed in the TWAB. If you want to click the links, it's probably the best way to go is just click the link and make a donation, and you can get the pack of shaders and stuff. So I want to get that out of the way first. But they did mention some important videos here. We had one, we actually had 2 videos from Mr. Raffle Waffles, which he used to be a Battlefield streamer, and he was a damn good one. I think he has millions of followers from Battlefield alone, and he's really digging the Destiny 2 scape, and he's really been jumping in with both hands and really loves the game. It's very much, the gunplay is very much like Battlefield. I mean, if you get around the modern weapons and stuff and the ability part of it, but he's really dove in and done a lot with Destiny 2 coverage as of late. But there was the new Edge of Fate armor. That was, are these all from Mr. Raffle Waffles? Oh, I see. Benny is one of them. Yeah. Cactus HD, their emblems. They don't list their names. They're just putting their emblems. Mr. Raffle Waffles, and of course, Dado.
If you hover over it, it'll tell you. The first one's Zavlar.
That's right.
Then,
that's right.
And then Mr. Raffle Waffles. Right. And then they're kind of talking about, weapons, armor, stuff like that. If you want to talk about the exotic weapons, I don't care as much. I'm sure there's going to have more details on them.
Yeah, let's start there. Let's start with the new exotics.
I don't even remember what they all are, other than the hand cannon looks pretty cool to me.
Well, there's really only I know Walla mentioned the spread shot hand cannon, and he talks about that. I'm not a real big hand cannon user, but I have my own notes here to go by.
Okay.
For it, I'll talk about. We're kind of organizing on the fly here, guys. So keep in mind.
Oh, it's fine.
We're just trying to figure out how to present this the best way. Let me talk about the exotics, because they only mentioned 2 of them, 2 exotics. And the first exotic is they have 3. They talked about 3 exotic armor pieces. I'll talk about the exotics, and then you can get into nitty gritty with the armor 3.0 if you don't mind, and I'll jump in. For the exotic weapons, you have the 3rd iteration. It's a Void Scout rifle that fires a spread, aiming down the sights for a short period, kind of like box breathing. Without firing, it compresses the spread into a single high-density projectile. That looks very interesting. Being that I'm a Void Warlock, of course, I love Void weapons. But damaging a target with this shot marks them, and then deals additional damage if you hit them again, being marked. And defeating a marked target or landing a precision final blow with the amalgamation round, that's the big dense shot, grants invisibility and true sight. So that is a very interesting scout rifle that I was reading about, or actually watched a video on. And what do you think of that, man? A Void scout rifle that has a spread, and as you hang on, as you aim longer, you actually see the reticle start to tighten up, where then it gets into the amalgamation round and shoots that dense burst.
Well, and then you can go invis too. So
yeah, of course.
It looks fun to me, and the hand cannon looks really good, slightly better, but the pulse looks really good also. And of course, exotic pulses are generally already good. Like Outbreak is good. This looks like it'll be good. Yeah. Pulses in general are a little more boring to me, but I'll definitely be trying out this exotic pulse. It looks pretty good.
Yeah, the Graviton Spike is the name of the hand cannon. I'm not a hand cannon user, but it does look interesting. And the one thing I like about this hand cannon, it has a regular red dot sight, not the tiny crunch sights that they put on hand cannons. I hate that. With my eyesight, I don't like using hand cannons. I know they have huge cones and they're very, there's a lot of aim assist on hand cannons. That's why a lot of people use them in competitive modes. And in
PvE, they're great too. They
hit hard.
Pretty much the same range as Pulse and they hit harder. So it's like,
Well, the Graviton Spike, it's a hybrid. It's an arc and stasis hand cannon. You press to swap between a fast-firing arc mode or a slow-firing stasis mode. And as you get final blows and precision hits, they overcharge the opposing mode of the gun. So all you do is hold down to switch over to it, and you get, more power and more damage from the other shot. So that looked pretty good. Now, what's weird is I didn't write anything about the pulse rifle. Did they have it listed in the TWAB here? Because I remember hearing about it. What do you remember what it was called? You in the chat. What's the pulse rifle called? The exotic pulse? Because that, for some reason, I didn't see that. I mean, I saw it in a video, but
we'll be hearing a lot more about it. I don't even care myself, but if someone in the chat knows it.
It's very similar to, there it is. It's very similar to the Void scout rifle, but it has a spread that it fires a spread as well. And the longer I think you aim as well, that it compresses. You see it compressing on it as well. So, I don't have the name of that. Shit.
That was exotic or was that legendary?
I thought that was legendary. Maybe that's why don't have it. You said
exotic and then I got confused.
I think it's considered legendary. I don't think it's an exotic. The exotic was the scout rifle that I just mentioned. All right. So so they also mentioned 3 gauntlets that are coming out exotic wise for each of our characters, the Titan, the Warlock, and a Hunter. And, the first name of the Titan exotic is, get to my notes here. The Titan exotic, it's called Melis Panoplia or Panoplia, however way you want to say that. But it's all about getting a recall on your throwing hammer. You collect a fire sprite or get rapid solar final blows. It makes you a forge master. And if you get a perfect recall, you'll hear like a little ding sound clue when you're retrieving your hammer. You'll get even more damage and scorch, I believe. You'll get some scorch on it as well. From what I'm seeing, it had very good tracking as well and very good damage. The Warlocks get, a Hellion based gauntlet called Enoia. And it does more damage, more distance traveled, and then it splits into additional projectiles and applies scorch. And there's either a fragment or something in our seasonal artifact called Burning Ambition that's going to be able to add to that. I wrote a note there to make sure you use that with it. And then Hunters get something based on the Whirling Maelstrom exotic, where the threaded spike, where they throw that little, I see it in Crucible all the time where you'll see this little, stasis tornado coming at you where it's like a threaded spike turns into a maelstrom. They call it a Whirling Maelstrom. And what happens when you throw your threaded spikes, they bounce to tangles, and detonating them, you will return it immediately. Tangles detonated by threaded spike are rewoven and retrieved by it, but it catches a tangle refund. You get an extra melee. If you catching it without a tangle refund, we'll refund you extra melee energy. Man, I can't write. I swear to God. I must have been doing this late at night last night, but, of all those 3 exotics, which do you are more excited about? I mean, I use Hellion, so I'm a little biased here, but of those 3, which looked the strongest to you or looked most interesting?
I would probably try that too. And that brings up an interesting point too, that I forget where I saw this, but, I forget the 2 kind of like subclass things that they're focusing on this upcoming first season DLC thing, but Solar was one of them. And I was thinking about this when I was in a Val raid recently the other day, and I've been having a lot of fun with Arc, but I do like going into new builds, because it's fun to change it up. Now, I usually don't go into a Stasis Warlock build because I don't have as much fun with that. Yeah. But if there's a really good Arc, Solar, or Void one that's clearly above the others for the season, like Arc was a really good one for Warlock this season, I go into it. And I'm happy to go into Solar again to change it up next season because I was doing Icarus Dash again and Heat Rises and all the fun Solar things. I'm like, oh yeah, the movement on Solar is pretty good too. Not like the fast running that Arc has, but you can get out of so many sticky situations, like if you flub a jump or if enemies are locked onto you and you're about to die, if you Icarus Dash to the side, they lose control on you and stuff. So I'm happy to check out the solar.
Yeah, well, I won't get into that yet. We'll talk about that afterwards. But those are the exotic items that they shared with us. The two exotic weapons, and then of course the 3 exotic gauntlets for each of that's what they shared. And that's what was shared from the content creators that got the early look at Edge of Fate. So let's look at let's look at Armor 3.0, because that's what everybody, our question of the week. I
want to talk about weapons a little more first.
Okay. Talk about weapons, and then we'll get into armor after that.
Yeah. And then we'll get to armor. Because they did show a graph or a chart, a screen cap of how the tiering system, what it all means. Because a lot of people are like, what does tier 5, 4, 3, 2, 1 all mean, right?
Right.
And basically tier 1 is just base stat weapon, like the lowest, nothing special about it.
Right.
Tier 2 gives you 2 enhanced traits, just preset, like out of the box. They're there. Tier 3 gives you 2 enhanced traits and 2 multi-perk options for the columns.
Yes.
So a couple things you can pick from, not just enhanced traits, but like 2 different options.
Mm-hmm.
Tier 4 gives you, and they all kind of build, as you can see as we're going along, the 2 enhanced traits, the 2 multi-perks, but it also lets you put on enhanced mods, which is going to be a new thing, and enhanced magazine and barrel. And
that's cool.
Fallout and Data were saying like, the enhanced magazine barrel is not going to be that big of an increase, but still it's something if you care about every little extra oomph. And then tier 5, pretty much the same as tier 4, except it also gives you an enhanced origin trait. But then it also gives you 3 perks to pick from instead of 2, so you even have a better chance of having a well-rounded weapon that you can use in PvE and PvP or multiple builds. But then it also gives you the cosmetics, like the unique ornament and the hollow chip and that fun blue shader thing that we saw.
And from what I heard from one of the content creators, is the one thing that a lot of people said was, yes, that embellishment on the gun is very nice, but it'd be nice if they offered more. And they said, well, we'll look into that. Yeah. Other than that one embellishment.
Well, of course, people are always going to want more. But then this also does at least answer some questions for people like, are we going to feel like if we don't have the time or desire to go for tier 4 or tier 5, are we going to just be regretting it? Like in PvE, we're not doing as good, or in PvP, we're just getting killed by those weapons. It doesn't look like that's going to be the case. The tier 4 and the tier 5, yeah, they're better, but not enough in a way where we're going to have to worry about it so much. So if you want to stay on tier 3, tier 4, perfectly fine. And also, let's clear some things up now, because a lot of people have been over worried.
Yeah.
Weapons will transfer over, and they said all your weapons will kind of come to like a tier 2 or tier 3 out of the box.
Right.
Unless you haven't done anything on a weapon, maybe tier 1 there, but it's not like your weapons aren't coming over. It's not like they're useless. Now, yeah, you may want to get the new weapons for different reasons, as always, like they come out with some new perks. A new weapon's better anyways.
Right.
But I guarantee you, and Dado and people were saying this, like when we're going into the raid on day 1 and stuff, like we're probably going to be using weapons we already have that are better from before, that have come over onto like a tier 3 or so. And it's not like we're needing these enhanced magazine and barrel to really help in the raids or in PvE on day 1. And these will just be things that people slowly earn over time, finding weapons that are worth it to you. So you don't have to worry about, oh, my weapons are all useless. I know there was a lot of worries like, why do I want to do anything right now? Nothing's going to matter. I'm like, no, that's not true. All your weapons will still matter.
Yeah.
To a point. If you have a good roll, it'll still be good.
Keep in mind, all the adept weapons will be transferring, and there will be no more adept weapons getting into the new Edge of Fate. And I don't know how that's going to translate into tiers for weapons, but yeah.
Adepts are going to be the tier 3,
right,
and regular weapons are probably going to be like around a tier 2.
2.5.
And so that's the thing. All weapons will transfer over.
Yeah,
it's just, they're just not going to be called adept. That'll be tier 3. And so again, you're okay, people. Like everything's going to be fine. Again, you may want to get the new weapons for other reasons, but I thought it was good that they finally gave us all the details. And again, they said this before, but how you earn them, and we may talk about this a little more later, but you earn them by doing harder activities, and the new portal will make it very clear it'll say like, if you want to get a tier 5, you have to do at least this level, which is probably going to be Grandmaster, or it sounds like it might even be Ultimatum or Ultimate, which is the highest level to get a tier 5 weapon. You can maybe get it on a little bit less activity, but it'll be very rare. So if you want a more guaranteed chance, which a lot of things will be a little more guaranteed also. A lot of these things will say you are for sure getting a drop. And if you play at this higher level activity, it will be a tier 3, 4, or 5 drop, depending on what level you get. Now, it still might be RNG on the actual weapon, unless it's a focused weapon of the day or the week. That's another point. Right. It all sounds good to me. There's going to be certain things that are guaranteed, certain things that are still RNG. And the tiering system, I think it's there. You can worry about it or not. So far, it sounds like no big concerns on my side with weapons.
And just some extra stuff here to mention too is there is going to be a lot more weapon perks and mods coming into Edge of Fate. They didn't say too much. They didn't share too much. I don't think they were allowed to share it, to be honest. But they said there was going to be like 100 new mods and perks.
That was
weapons.
The modifiers of the activities. I don't know they were for the weapons.
Right.
The 100 new modifiers were for the activities.
Right. That's right. That's where I heard that. But there's going to be a bunch more weapon mods as well to be able to add to.
I doubt 100, but
I heard 100. 100 is from. I'm sorry. I misspoke. The 100 is from the activity modifiers. Yes, that's true. That's right. I remember hearing that now. Anything else?
All right, armor.
Yeah, let's get into armor. We're going to follow the TWAB on this one, but the content creators shared a lot as well in their videos, and there was some stuff that stood out, and I took notes when I was watching those videos. But they had some questions too that they answered. They were getting some common questions. Like, I'm going to go over this real quick. Will we have more vault space? No. Bottom line, no. They said look for Renegades later this year. They're going to have what they call quality of life features and additional vault space. Don't know what quality of life features means. I have ideas of what I'd like it to be. I've talked about it in the past, but we'll have to see. So we'll have to wait till Renegades as far as that goes.
I do want to say more about that. Yeah.
Okay.
Now that we're talking about vault.
Yeah. Go for it.
Yeah. First of all, they just should tell us at this point, because they kind of hinted back in that November article that they are looking into finding some unique way to get around the issue. And so obviously by them saying that, they've got to have some kind of collection system or polling system or rebuilding system, or else why even say that? But they've been more cagey since. So I'm almost worried, like, ooh, does that mean they weren't able to come up with it? Or do they just, or maybe management said, oh, we need to keep it a secret for now. But like, they got to come up with something. But I do want to clear up again, because a lot of people have misinformation on vault space stuff and why it's always been an issue. And there was an article that came out, and one of the Destiny people were talking about the technical aspects of it and why it's not an easy fix. I already kind of knew this, but a lot of people don't. But they're like, vault space, it's easy. Flip a switch on the server, add 100 more. No, that's not it, people. I mean, yeah, you have to do that also, but you have to also do things on the client side, and there's memory issues and stuff. And now there's two things that could be going on the client side. All they said was that it's expensive on the client side. That can be two different things. It doesn't matter. They're both things that the game needs to get around, in my opinion.
Yes.
But you can either blame this on old gen stuff still being around, which is very likely because older gen consoles have even less memory space. So they're kind of holding us back. And again, I've said this for years, especially now. Why did they not switch to next gen consoles?
I was just going to ask you that. I was going to let you stop talking first. Why? Why? When I found out that it's going to be on Xbox One and PS4, I'm like, why? Everyone else has moved on.
Because this would have been the perfect time to switch it.
They're just because they're worried.
New era.
It's money. That's
worried about what? Like,
it's money. It's more people to buy their game. That's got to be it. Because why would they stick around? They did this, they went to the new consoles in Destiny 2. I don't understand. This is the next story.
Do even a majority of people have the old consoles anymore? I don't.
I'm sure they're out there. I'm sure they're out there, but
how much money are they going to make is my point. If it's not a lot.
But if it's holding back an important feature in the game, I would feel bad if I was still playing on a PS4. I'm not trying to shame anybody here. I mean, PS4 is still an awesome console to play on. but it just, if it's holding back the client side part of it, and I'll be honest, I was, it doesn't matter if I'm on PC or on my PS5 Pro, it still takes time for the guns to load in. Have you had that problem when you want to look at a gun?
Well, yeah.
And it sits there spinning forever? So that's the other reason you're thinking. It can happen
sometimes.
Okay.
And that's the other point, to be fair. Yes, either way, they need to move away from old gen consoles, but that may not be, I said, it's one of two things. The other thing that it could be is it's the engine. And even on PC, so the way the engine's made, even if you're playing on a PC, the way that the engine is, you can only have so much memory space. It's not like it's limited by the hardware, it's limited by the engine itself. So I'm actually thinking it's more likely the second one. And they can't, it's very expensive. What that means is the more vault that they add, the more the game has a chance to crash and slow down, even on faster stuff like PCs.
Yeah.
Until they can redo a whole new engine. So whatever the reason, whether it's the engine or the old gen consoles, people, this is why it's not easy to have more vault space, and they need to come up with a better long-term solution.
Yes.
I mean, yeah, I also think they should make a new engine, Destiny 3, whatever. They should get rid of old gen. But regardless of those things happening or not, hopefully they're coming up with another good solution in Renegades, and we hope to hear more when they do.
Another question they had was, will I be able to use my current gear? And we just went over that. It's just a lot of people are going to use it on their day one raid. So yes, nothing's going to change there. It's just, you're just going to have more options as stuff drops in the new game. You're going to have more options as far as what you want to keep and what you want to just discard and look forward to the new versions of those weapons and armor. What new weapons and archetypes are coming to the Edge of Fate? They said, we've noticed new spread shot hand cannon A. Tune into our next developer streams to learn more about many weapons coming with the Edge of Fate, which makes me think, what other weapons have we got coming, or archetypes even, as well as the new perks and more. So that will I think that's when we're coming back. I think that's on the 23rd or something. It's like that Tuesday, I believe, is when, because I'll be back where we can watch that together. What's happening to mobility, recovery, and resilience? Check the section below, and we're going to talk about that. Is the director going away? We're focusing on the portal as the main hub for the Edge of Fate, and I have a lot of comments about the portal, and we'll get into that later. But the director's not going away. Players will still be able to access everything, all the activities like they normally have, but Kepler will be accessed through the portal. So keep that in mind. Kepler's not going to be on the map. So keep that in mind. What are unstable cores? Unstable cores is a new currency we're introducing with the Edge of Fate. They will be earned from dismantling high-level gear, among other sources. And I'll tell you right now, it's from portal activities. I already can tell you, you're going to get so many of them. And will reset at the start of each 6-month season. That I'm not happy about. I hate it when they bottleneck currencies. I'm not going to get into it now, but the fact that they're going to take them away after 6 months, I don't understand that reasoning at all. I think they're going to get blowback on that. But we plan to answer your questions regarding the economy changes coming in at Edge of Fate in a few. You know they're going to have that TWAB when I'm in the UK, and I'm going to have to sit there and decipher it. But anyway, we may be having a meeting on that one. Gear tiering and exotic armor 3.0. Here we go. I'm going to read this first paragraph. Well, good.
Actually, don't mind them taking away the stuff. You know, a lot of other games do that to great success, like Diablo and stuff.
Yes. I don't like that, but
what about they're also resetting the power every season?
Yes.
Do you not like that also?
Yes, we'll get into that. We'll get into that too, because I definitely have thoughts on that as well.
But then what about the people that like to grind for number go bigger? The only way they can let them do that is by resetting every season. So that's why, again, a game like this can never please everyone.
Yeah.
And it's so funny. We'll talk. I feel like they're going too much into the grind this time around. That's spoiler alert, but I'll see what you say.
Let's not get ahead of ourselves. Let's first. I know we're like little kids at a candy store. Let's talk about exotic. Okay. Let's talk about exotic. Let's talk about what's changing with the exotic armor 3.0. You may have seen a lot of the videos with creators published 2 days ago. So instead of repeating their exact words, we want to focus on some specific details about ability stats, gear tiering, and how your collection of exotic armor pieces is being brought forward. In our reveal stream, the team spoke to adding depth to armor and gear in general with the launch of the Edge of Fate. As part of this, armor stats are getting an overhaul. And we've kind of heard a little bit of an inkling of this in the past, but and some new stats have been created to expand upon your build crafting opportunities. Without further ado, here is the Destiny 2 Sandbox team. The Sandbox team says we have a literal mountain of changes to talk about over the next few weeks, and you'll definitely be seeing a few of us up on the upcoming live streams. With that said, let's get started with a bit of the core changes you'll be seeing soon. So when you log into Edge of Fate, you're going to notice some stats are different. Mobility on your armor is now weapons.
The mobility's gone away. It's gone. We will have a base mobility, which we'll talk about later.
I'm not happy about that. I got
Armor,
words.
yeah.
I do not like that. What the base mobility is, but for PvP, that's not going to be good for me. But let's talk about weapons. So mobility's turning to weapons. Level 1 to 100 on weapons will improves the weapon reload and handling. Good. Improves the damage versus minor and major combatants from 0 to 15% for primary and special, 0 to 10% for heavy. And you can imagine that 0 to 15% is going to be 1 from 100. And keep in mind, we don't have to worry about it being a round number of 10 now on stats. Every number will add to that percentage. I'm sure you're going to reach certain tiers where you'll get 15% for like 200 on primary weapons and 10% for heavy, or you may get like 2% when you have like 120 power on your stat as far as the weapons on your new armor now. Here's an important part though. When you go over 100 to 200, which is the max, it grants a chance for ammo bricks produced to contain more ammo than normal. That's a mod. That's a build crafting mod, but I guess they're going to include that now in the armor stat. Improves damage versus boss combatants and guardians. 0 to 15% for primary and special, 0 to 10% for heavy. Bonus weapon damage versus players will go from 0 to 6%. That could be huge in a Crucible because everything is split seconds in a Crucible. And if you have a 6% advantage over someone who maybe is just jumping in there might be some blowback on that as well, but we'll just have to see how that tests out. For stats going away with this new system, we have set them to a fixed value for all players. This is where I had issues. Mobility is fixed to 30 for Titans and Warlocks and 40 for Hunters. But they said there is a new leg armor mods to adjust this higher. I run my mobility at like 80 because if you remember
add the leg armor mod then.
Well, we'll have to see how much it adds, Kingsley. If it only adds 10 or 20, that's still not going to be 50 is not going to be good enough.
But maybe no one can get higher than you're at least with everyone else.
If you have a tier 8 in mobility and Crucible, your strafe speed is seconds. Yeah. I mean, it's so much different than if you were at a 2 or 3 where you're just like sticks in the mud trying to move side to side.
Well, wherever the max is now, you'll be able to hit it. And so if the max is now comparable to 50 than before, everyone will just get used to that.
We'll have to see where it scales.
Higher than that.
Yeah, we'll have to see where it scales. So we'll have to look into that. All right. So
in other words, you can max out your mobility if you want. Right. I mean, with the leg armor, and no one will be able to higher than you because it's only going to be this base stat plus the leg armor. So even though the thing above, it might be hard to get to level 200 for weapon stat, it won't be hard for you to get the leg armor mod. So that'll probably be the easier thing. So you should actually be happy that they're doing mobility as just a leg armor mod. It'll be easier actually.
Yeah. I mean, like I said, I'll put it into my Crucible builds when I thoroughly research everything. But let's get into the next thing. Resilience is now called health. So what is health? 1 to 100 grants 0 to 70 healing when picking up an orb of power. Also 1 to 100 on a scale will grant 0 to 10% flinch resistance. That's good. But if you go over 100 to up to 200, shields start recharging at 0 to 25% more quickly and take 0 to 50% less time to fully recharge. So that's like the old recovery. You're diving into the old recovery stat now. But also 0 to 20 gives an additional shield capacity versus combatants. So what do you think about that, man? That health change. You liking this or?
I don't know. It's way too early to say. It's definitely complicating things a bit. I don't use the word complicated as like a bad connotation, but it is a true connotation. Like definitely things are a lot more complicated now. It's good in a way. We have to be even more mindful than before of building to certain stats because if you want to get something to like 100 or 200, then you're probably going to have to other stats, not do as well. I'm sure we'll find out soon enough, like, we can do double or triple 100 to 200s, but then everything else is going to be 0 basically. But as far as what they're adding in here, I don't have any particular issues. I just wonder how easy it'll be to get to those levels to be effective. I have another meta point that's like higher level once you go over all of this, like what my actual concerns are. But on this stat itself, I don't have any big concerns.
Okay. We'll keep moving. Recovery is now going to be called class. And what does class do? Class is 1 to 100 improves base cooldown of your class ability. Makes sense. Also will improve the amount of class energy gained from external sources and any class regeneration speed scalers from other sources, like your class regeneration mods on your legs or your leg armor. Over 100 though, up to 200 grants a 0 to 40 HP overshield, 0 to 10 in PvP on casting your class ability. And the duration is determined by what you're using. So dodge and thruster will be 5 seconds and barricade and riff will be 10 seconds. Okay. Pretty cut and dry. Totally. Yeah. Pretty cut and dry. Okay. Moving on. The next change is going to be strength is now melee, which is kind of a no-brainer. 1 to 100 will improve the base cooldown of your melee ability. It'll also improve the amount of melee energy gained from external sources and other mods. 100 to 200, you'll get a 0 to 30% increase melee ability damage. Now, this is where things are changing up. They're not actually changing your ability, your cooldowns. Now you're actually going to get more damage from these. What do you think about this? The way they're shifting to more damage-oriented specs on these stats.
I mean, that sounds great. Again, because there's going to be so many other stats that I think people are going to want to build into first. Okay. I have a feeling the class one may be a little lower on the list unless someone finds a really good build and reason why they want to bump that one up.
Right.
But it sounds like it's a good idea to do so. Sorry, we were talking about melee or class? I forget which one we were on.
Melee. We're talking because they switched it over where now you couldn't do this before. But now you get increased ability damage with your melees. If you're up to 30%, if you're at 200, it includes powered, unpowered, and JD Kent glaive melees. So I have a feeling Titan.
I would hope so.
Titans are going to be specking around this 100 to 200 on melee. I think a lot. Because think about it, if you're a punchy Titan, you're going to want to just punch everything with a 30% increase in damage. That's pretty high. Now, I don't know what this is going to be.
But there's other things that can get you to 20 to 25% weapon damage anyway. So it really just depends on your build.
That's true.
Yeah.
That's true.
No, I think it's great. I think the options here are good. I just, again, I wonder, like, I think there's going to be a lot of FOMO. People are like, oh, I wish I could have this type of build. And you can't because your build is different. And it's going to be good and bad, if that makes sense.
Well, I mean, tying into it, discipline is going to be called grenade, which I think is that's a smart move because nobody knows if you're just getting into Destiny, nobody knows what discipline means. But if it says grenade, then you know. So 0 to 100 or 1 to 100 improves the base cooldown of your grenade ability. Also improves the amount of grenade energy from external sources and regeneration, speed scalers from mods and stuff. But 100 to 200 gives you a 0 to 65% increase in grenade ability damage. This is huge, especially like in Crucible. I don't know how they're going to scale that, but what do you think about that, man? So melees and grenades now will actually have more power based on how you build into your armor.
Well, again, I think it makes sense even on especially on the PvE side. Yeah. I know you're concerned about the PvP side, but I actually was listening to something Astrocross said, and I think there's going to be two other ones that are way more important than melee or grenade that PvP builders are going to do. Yeah. I think the first two things PvPers are going to have to spec in as much as possible if they can get to 200. It's definitely going to be weapons and super. You know it has to be. Those are the two. Because weapons, if it gives you more output DPS, that's first priority over defense. Defense is important too, but if you get the first pick and if you have a higher DPS than other people, you'll win the gunfight. Yep. And then, of course, super.
Which was intellect. It's called now super.
Quicker.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I know I kind of jumped the gun on that, but what do you think are going to be the two most important ones in PvP?
I know PvEers, especially Raiders, are going to be definitely speccing into
PvP.
Well, for PvP, I think it's going to be, I would say grenade. It just depends how it scales. Really? Because my grenade right now sucks. If I throw an Axiom bolt that chases people around corners, which I used to love using
weapons more important than grenades?
Well, weapons too, but why can't you inspect both? Because you can spec into having more damage with your weapon up to 6%. And have stronger grenades. I could see a Warlock specking into that for a Crucible
I got
build.
you.
But 0 to 45% increase super ability damage. That's your Raiders right there, man. They're going to want that for their DPS numbers. So I think for PvE, I think super is going to be what the PvE players are going to spec into, because PvP, let's face it, your supers it's so overpowered. If you connect with a Guardian using your super, you're going to kill them. I don't care what they're using.
Okay.
So,
well, since we're talking about PvE now too, I guess I'll get to the point I was going to make later. I was really curious what you thought the two most important were for PvP, but for PvE,
yeah.
But if you don't want to answer that, you don't have to. But then I'll get into PvE.
Well, to answer your question, it's probably going to be health, because it's going to be like a recovery stat. You're going to want to get your health back as quick, and that overshield. And then I would say grenade, because super's not really class.
See, I wonder if we should have that be a poll sometime.
That might be a good.
I was watching some videos
for
big time PvP players, and maybe this is what you're missing in PvP all along, but isn't the most important thing is weapon output and super in PvP? Like, I'm not saying those other things aren't important.
Super recharge rate, yes. If you can get your super back quicker because they nerfed it. Okay, so I could see that. As you get more kills, you get more super.
I'm not saying the other things are important, but if you only had to pick two, what are the two most important ones?
Well, obviously weapons, because I'm a weapons-oriented player. I don't like crutching on my abilities too much. And it'd be a toss-up. Probably it could be super, because it improves the amount of super energy gain from even just getting kills with your they were showing it in the videos that your bar was going up a lot faster if you had that 100 to 2 or over 100 spec. So
Astrocross predicted those two also. Will be the biggest ones for PvPers.
Probably, especially for like trials and stuff. Whoever can get that super before the round is over, or before the 6 rounds are over, that's going to be the winner. Yeah.
Okay. So for PvE, look, it's back to the thing. This is good, but we're getting really complicated here. And the thing that I watched some videos that Dado made a really good point, and I 100% agree. His big concern, and I have a concern with this too, is this is really going to overcomplicate things with us having, not that we have to, but more hot swapping loadouts all the time.
Yep.
That I don't love needing to hot swap into things because it's better. When you're playing master level raids or harder level things, you kind of need to do that because you're missing out if you don't. And some people hot swap loadouts or weapons anyways in normal level content. But if you think about this, you're going to want maybe like a build before you get to the boss that really focuses on other things. But then when you get to the boss, you may need a hot swap to a super or a weapons build, probably a weapons build.
Right.
Except for maybe the defense person, the support person does like a super build. But then before that, you don't want a weapons or super build in the regular part of the raid because you're missing out on your normal stuff, your grenade recharge and all that stuff. And I don't want to be getting into a situation where we're like, since we can't have all on one build, there may not be Swiss Army knife builds anymore, so we're going to have a lot of builds that we're just hot swapping. Like, oh, we're doing the raid, we're doing this, we're at the boss. Hurry, hot swap to your super build or weapons build or something like that. I just don't know. I'm not saying this is going to happen, but I'm a little concerned.
I'm excited. I'm excited about this, Kingsley, because now I have
the hot swap.
No, not for the hot swap aspect, but as far as build crafting is being more exciting for me. I know they're trying to make it simpler and more easy to understand.
It's more complicated.
But that's the stick, Kingsley. It's very easy to understand for new players, right? Everyone knows what grenade means, right? But for us players, that they're kind of taking care of both areas here. For us players because I mean, I don't know about you, but when I get a good void build, it's pretty much a Swiss Army knife. I can use it in any crucible, and it maxes out my stats where I feel I need to be strongest. And in PvE, I mean, once you find a prismatic build that works for you, you pretty much are good. I mean, I didn't really get into a ton of different build crafting because once you found one, it worked for just about everything.
That will change.
That's exactly my point.
Swiss Army builds anymore.
That's why I'm excited.
But I thought you said you liked the Swiss Army builds.
I didn't really do much build crafting because once you got a build that worked for you, you were good. And armor didn't mean anything then. You didn't really care about armor anymore. But now every number is going to matter in all of these different areas. This is exciting to me because I'm going to get to work.
Yeah, but really try to think of the big picture because, you can do a really cool build on one area, but then are you going to feel limited where that build is like good in the general stuff, but when you get to a boss, it's weak, or vice versa.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Now,
so
yeah,
that's going to be, just try to look at the big picture. I'm not saying that's going to happen for sure, but
right.
I just wonder how much we're going to have to worry about having more builds and more things to worry about. Like, okay, if we really want to play effectively, we need a hot swap. We need to have lots more builds. We need to have all these things and stuff. And it's good for the people that love that. That's great. Yeah. And I know you don't have to do any of this stuff.
No, I mean,
you know,
but you're going to notice a difference if you're, especially when everybody looks at those numbers at the end of the raid to see who did the most DPS. Now, if you have a really strong super build in PvE and you know you're getting a 30% boost in damage, you don't think you're going to be spec'd for that. But I already got the wheels already going, man, for me, because I'm going to think, okay, first thing I'm going to do is I want to get a general Crucible build and then just start fine tuning it depending on what gear drops. And then on PvE, I'm going to build for what you just said. I'm going to build for weapon damage and super damage. And I'll just keep collecting, and we haven't even talked about Portal yet, but I did want to mention one thing because the build crafting is changing so much. I want to talk about how they nerfed Prismatic, because when we were watching,
is that part of weapon still or armor?
No.
I have more to say about armor.
Well, go ahead and continue with armor, and then we'll get into what they're going to do with Prismatic.
I thought you meant when you had one thing, it was the same thing, not a new thing. Okay. So with weapons, like how I gave the things on the tiers for with armor, like how I give the tiers for weapons, well, they also let us know what the different tiers mean for armor. And again, also for armor. Now, armor isn't as clear converting over. Basically, things will convert over. However, if you want these new stats, when things convert over, especially exotics, it's going to be kind of iffy, but they came up with a way to get around that. 801's going to have like these reroll things that we can do to convert our exotics.
A limited number of these reroll currencies are going to give us, so we can pull over
20 or something.
Yeah, so we can pull over some of our most used exotics to the new system. Yeah,
but
we can focus. We can focus stats a little bit too. We'll have a little bit of focus.
But with armor, even though most of all your armor will come over fine, and the stats aren't getting any worse.
Yeah,
but you won't have the ability to do some of these new things, especially like the armor set bonuses. So I was hearing a lot more on armor. Again, it's not like your old armor is useless, but armor, I really think we will be looking for newer things, even maybe quicker than weapons. And then what the tiers mean is with armor, tier 1, and Bungie said these numbers may change a little bit before launch, but again, you're doing activities in the portal or whatever, and it says this will drop tier 1 armor. Mm-hmm. Well, if it says that, that's garbage, 48 to 53 stats.
Probably.
Tier 2 armor is 53 to 58. Like, okay, it's not horrible, but not great either. At tier 3, that's kind of where we're looking. Okay, now we're looking 59 to 64. Tier 4, 65 to 72. Now we're looking really good. And then tier 5, 73 to 75 plus stat tuning is tier 5. And I forget what that means, stat tuning, but maybe that's only on tier 5 armors.
Yeah, I didn't get that far in that part. As far as tier 5, because let's face it, not many of us are going to get tier 5. Tier 5 there's definitely going to be, from what I've heard from the videos that I've watched, tier 5 armor there's going to be a skill wall that you're going to have to be so good to play the game to get those tier 5 armor pieces. It's not going to be a cakewalk. You're going to have to practice. You're going to have to get good if you want the tier 5 armor.
Same thing with the weapons. Yeah.
Same with weapons.
As far as the tier stuff, I think most people will be able to do tier 3 easy enough. Tier 4 might be like kind of my limit.
Right.
I don't know if I'm going to be caring about tier 5, especially if that's ultimatum only. We'll see.
Yeah.
But I don't really care either, especially about the extra ornament shader.
Tier 3 and 4 is going to be plenty for us. I mean, that's already very high in stats. And then, of course, you're looking for the spiky stats too, especially in areas that just like we do now. We want to look for that 30 stat in resilience, right? But speaking of resilience, it is going to be fixed to 100. So as far as your resilience from this, if you have 100 resilience gear, that it's going to be default to 100. And recovery is going to be fixed around what 60 once was. So okay, I'm happy with that.
Those are going away, so they're just built in.
They're just going to be innate, I guess. Innate, like part of your character is built in. Yeah.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right.
Hey, just a quick reminder that we have several Destiny 2 clans, and we invite all of you to be a part of it. If you're looking for a home to share your Destiny experiences, now would be a great time to jump in and get to know some of these great gamers. We're here for the community and friends you make along the way, and no hardcore restrictions. And enjoy what time you have for Destiny is all we ask. So if you're looking for a clan out there, join our Discord. That's discord.gg/GuardianDownCast, and just reach out to a mod and we'll open the door for you. So join us, and later, Guardian. Yeah, well, they mentioned that when I was watching a lot of the Dado video and also Astrocross, we noticed that the prismatic fragments, there was only one available, and that there was a lot of hubbub about that, and Bungie's already reacted.
Well, to be clear, one available where it used to be like
3. 2
to 4 or something like that.
Exactly. Yeah. So Bungie said, okay, we're trying to, Prismatic's a little hot, and I guess this is their moment to kind of fine tune it a little bit going into the new system and so what they've done is, there's 3 different areas where they, several different aspects that only had 1, according to what people saw in the videos. And, I've got them listed right here. Prismatic Titan Consecration went from 3, was going to be to 1, but they're going to add 1 more. So it's going to be 2. Knockout on Prismatic Titan remains at 2, but it's reverted. It was going to be 1. Prismatic Hunter, the Stylix Executioner, is going to remain at 2, but they did have it at 1. Ascension is going from 3 to 2, and Winter Shroud 3 to 2. Now Prismatic Warlock is kind of hit home because I use all of these. Feed the Void is going to remain at 2. It was only going to be 1. Hellion is going to go from 3 to 2, and Bleak Watcher is going to go from 3 to 2. So just wanted to mention that right off the bat while we're on the armor subject, because I'm going to make sure I didn't forget to mention it tonight. But there was a lot of hubbub this week over that from the community, that they were taking so much away from our Prismatic subclass. And Kingsley, I think they should have leaned in all the way with Prismatic. I think they should have eliminated all of the classes, all of the subclasses, and just had Prismatic and just have you fine tune anything. I have 1 hub for all of your subclasses, but apparently they decided to go a different way.
Too much work for now. They would have to do a lot more development, but
I really thought they were going to lean into Prismatic because I thought it was a great idea. But they
will add more to it eventually, and they even said, so this stuff didn't bother me as much because, look, we're already having so many other big changes with all the other stuff. It's like, even before they reverted the changes, which it probably was a smart move, but a lot of the people were saying, like, look, guaranteed consecration is still going to be amazing, even on 1. Right. It just means, look, the fragments are good, but they're not the godsend. Mm-hmm. So we have 2 or 3 less fragments. We'll still survive. It's the aspects that are the good part anyways, So, I don't know. I wasn't as concerned about this. Things need to be nerfed from time to time when we get power creep, but it's probably good they reverted it some. So I wasn't too worried about this either way.
On all the other stuff I want to mention tonight, I just have notes, and I don't know. I'm sure you wrote down notes as well. And if there's something more you want to expand on, I'm just gonna list some of my highlights that I got from these videos. We're away from the TWAB now because that's all they pretty much talked about in the TWAB this week. We're getting into what the content creators talked about here. We talked about the weapon changes, that most of them are going to start out at level 2 or 3, depending on if you have an adept or whatever. The stats are going to be the same, but they're going to just convert to these new changes. Big changes to armor power number. The damage numbers are going to totally reset the power numbers for the new expansion. In fact, I saw, and in the video, I saw their armor power number at 10. But they did say that it was 1900 was the floor. I think they said, what was the floor going into?
It's 10.
It's
10
10
is the floor.
10. So, and the maximum, the hard cap is going to be pretty much 450, which, like Kingsley said, is going to be totally reset in 6 months. So,
okay. Well, to be clear, 200 is the normal cap, and then you get another 250 from the harder seasonal stuff.
Yeah. Gotcha.
Leveling up the pass and the seasonal stuff. So what'll happen, it's the end of the season, it'll go back down to 200, and then I don't know if there'll be another base that goes to 300 and then seasonal on top, or just seasonal again and then it resets. Yeah.
So the main thing I want to mention there is that whatever number your gear is now, it's going to be totally reset. We're going to have a whole new reset going into the new Destiny content.
On power, I think this is another thing that's going to be pretty complicated for a lot of people to figure out what's going on, because from what I understood, it's easy-ish to level up to 200, but then when you start doing the season stuff above 200, it gets pretty complicated, because from what happens supposedly is you have to use these new unstable cores to infuse stuff, and it's going to be a rolling expensiveness on if you infuse something from just 1 to 1 higher, it's going to be one cost, but if you go from like maybe 201 to like 250, it's going to be a lot more expensive. Right. It's not a 1-to-1 infusion. I also heard that, it's going to be reset. It's going to be like, will those higher numbers matter? There's a lot of like questions and unknowns. I did finally seem to get an answer that one of the streamers said that it looks like there still will be fireteam power. So if you're playing with groups, power still may not matter. But if you're playing solo, power may matter. Or, of course, if you're doing ultimatum or day one raid stuff, of course power is going to matter, because you need everyone at that highest level possible, not some people 5 below. I really kind of want to know more how much power will matter. I think for me, I'm going to be pretty much happy just doing the 200 grind, and especially if power doesn't matter in groups and stuff. Like, why do I care to go above 200 if power is not going to matter? And if it's also going to reset every 6 months, I feel like, to me, this is stuff for the people that care. Make number go bigger, that type of thing. But maybe it may not matter for everyone practically. I just don't know. Do you have any other kind of impressions on how much it'll matter, or how much you care to power up? Maybe it'll matter in PvP, right? Do you think? Or
it's gonna be, especially the power enabled stuff like trials. I'm looking forward to the power grind. I like power grinding. I always like that because you get a new piece of armor or weapon, and you're like, okay, let's look at this. All right, no, I don't need it, so let's add it into our power. Let's do the power grind. But I'm going to mention later why I'm really looking forward to grinding in the new Edge of Fate. But another thing I had is armor sets. You know, when you're playing, for instance, Iron Banner, if you wear Iron Banner gear, you get a percentage for each piece you wear, a percentage more in XP gains when you're trying to complete the pass bar for Lord Saladin to unlock, all the different things as you're playing the Iron Banner games. They're going to be doing that even more in Edge of Fate. The one armor set that they mentioned here, an example was called the Bushido armor set, which basically gives you heal clip in your armor, which I love heal clip. I love it, especially like in Crucible. So the more armor they have, like if you wear two pieces of armor, you get this. And then if you wear 4 pieces of armor, you get all these crazy stacking benefits to the armor. So tiered armor, armor sets are going to be more important than ever. They're really leaning hard into the armor sets where, you know how you have armor sets for like, they give you special, abilities or special perks, when you play a certain raid. Like if you get Garden of Salvation armor or armor that you get these special, they don't even cost anything, but they give you these special things you can do, in the encounters. Well, this is going to be more of a general based, weapon set or armor set where you can do all kinds of new things, which looks really good. Heal clip is good.
I was even mentioning that earlier in the show, and I think that's one of the biggest reasons people would want to grind for the new armor is armor sets.
Yep, that's going to be fun, and they said you will not need tier 5 weapons and armor to play all the content. We talked about that already. Like I said, armor set bonuses are going to be huge. That's a highlight I got from a lot of the stuff they shared. Dado also said that Kepler seems to be a very large area compared to the past expansion maps. He says there's like a center hub and then it's divided into 4 quadrants is the only thing I got from him. But what I love about that, it's going to be like Fog of War, right? And it's going to be like Heroes of Might and Magic. The further you travel into these areas, it'll start unlocking the maps, right? The one thing that he did say that he was a little frustrated with was the Matter Spark, where he was trying to find the tube or the hole he could get into to solve the puzzles. But other than that, he thought the Kepler area was pretty good size. So,
yeah. Also, Fallout was saying similar things on some of these fun little gimmicky things that they're adding.
Right.
It's really interesting to see how we'll all take to it. Fallout was saying that the puzzles were a little frustrating at times. Not that they were necessarily hard, but it was just little stupid frustrating things like where is actually the hole to go into to do the little ball? Like it's not obvious. It's like super hard to find and stuff. And wondering if some people that just like to like gun and play, if you think about like PvP people, like will they be getting frustrated with these puzzles and stuff and going through the campaign? So
yeah, he mentioned some of it was a little frustrating to him, and I guess Fallout said the same thing. So we'll have to see on that. It might just be a gimmick. A lot of times they have this stuff, and like when you were trying to use stasis in the campaigns and you can only use it for a brief period of time, and then you went back to what you came in with. That was kind of frustrative. I wanted to use the power
this
right away.
We can only use on this new location too.
Exactly.
So
So we'll have to see how that arrives. They said that the typical Destiny campaign is going to be totally changed up. That's just the note I wrote there. Can you want to expand on that a little? How they're going to approach the campaigns? I guess they're going to be going more toward the portal system and being able just to jump in and just play. And
wait, what for a campaign?
Well, the campaign's probably going to be included in the portal because you're going to have to go to Kepler and stuff. So that they said it's.
Well, we already know the campaign is like more variable, not kind of like roguelite.
Right.
Basically, we're going to have like a main mission, and then it breaks off. It's not. When I heard more details, I'm really starting to get more impressions. It won't be as roguelike as we're hoping.
Okay,
but there will be like you play a mission, it'll probably break off into 3 submissions you can do in any order you want, and then you'll go back to a mission.
Right.
But how's that any different than Forsaken? Remember, we did that anyways. With you could kill the bosses in the order you wanted.
Right.
I'm guessing it'll be a little more involved, obviously, but I'm not setting expectations too high in case it's not as roguelike as we're hoping.
My only fear is that we'll burn through it too quick. We'll have to see. We'll have to see how that plays out.
Okay, wait, what does too quick mean?
Well, I mean, when I play a campaign in the past, I expect a certain amount of hours invested in it to go through the campaign story. And if it's a kind of thing where...
So it's not that we're going too quick, it's that they didn't make enough content to make enough hours? Is that what you mean?
Yes, that's my fear, is that there might not be enough content to play as far as the general campaign. Yeah.
Well, we already kind of know that. They said it's not as much content this year compared to previous years.
I just don't know what that means. They said Rise of Iron size. So I had a lot of fun playing Rise of Iron. I thought the story was pretty. I thought the campaign was pretty dense, but it's hard to compare Destiny 1 and Destiny 2, But we'll have to see. We'll have to just see. I'm sure they're going to get into some of these aspects later. Here's the thing I did get from Datto. Datto said that Bungie is laying a whole new foundation for the game, and that they're wanting to appeal to the new player. And they mentioned, they hinted a long time ago that they were going to be redoing the new player experience, quote unquote. And I thought that would be before the new content. But what they're saying, or what the impression that Datto had, is there wasn't going to be any new subclasses or anything. But he thought that what Destiny or what Bungie was doing is they were kind of doing the maintenance on the holes in the game, the things that people didn't like, the very hard to understand aspects for a new player coming in to play this game, that they were trying to lay a whole new UI, a whole new foundation on how to jump in and just play the game. And what did you think about, what was your impression of that?
I don't understand how those two things work together. Yes, they're changing the foundation a lot, but other than the portal system, I don't see how this is any easier for a new player because of all the new stat things going on. Yes, it's easy in the UI to see what things mean, but there's even 100 more options than there were before. So to me, other than the portal system, I actually think it's getting more complicated now. Am I wrong on that?
No, I mean, we're talking about build. I mean, I think build crafting is going to definitely be more sophisticated than what it is now.
Yeah. So how is this any easier for the new player other than the portal system? Of course, the portal system looks good to me.
Yeah.
I'll get to that in a second.
Yeah.
But
my
how is
theory,
this any easier? You know, fragments and aspects are still going to be confusing. They're like, oh, I have to load an aspect first, and then how many fragments do I get?
Well, we don't know what they're going to do in that respect as far as the new player experience. But I think what they're going to do is, I think what they're trying to do, especially with the new basics of the armor, like grenade, class, super, they're trying to keep things very simple instead of these code words that only Bungie players or only Destiny players know what they mean, where they have to go watch a video. I think what they're going to do is get people to come in and get comfortable just jumping in and playing the game. And then once they start learning more about the game, like the different build crafting options and stuff, I think what they're hoping is that then they'll switch into what we are, which are the hardcore Destiny players, and start getting into build crafting and trying to get those higher tier weapons and armor. I think that's going to be their approach here. And from what Datto says, he mentions that they may probably add more supers and subclasses and fragments and the wow factor stuff that's going to be real exciting, maybe in Renegades or further along down the road once they lay this foundation, from what he says it.
Yeah,
so,
but again, I don't see how this is helping new player unless they can add a lot more tutorials. That's what we need. Like someone starts up the game and they spend like 5 minutes on the screen, like let's load an aspect really slowly and teach you why and what it means and how to do that. And then let's use just one aspect in a mission before we overcomplicate with additional aspects and fragments. Yeah. Unless they're doing stuff like that, I don't see how the new player experience is any less confusing other than the portal system.
And not many of the content creators even really spoke about the new player experience. I thought that was an interesting point that Datto made, that they're one of the questions was, is there going to be a wow factor that brings the old players back? And he goes, well, what they're going to do is he used pumping iron as kind of an analogy. He says right now they're building the muscle. They're building the muscle. They're building all the base of the game again. They're kind of rebuilding it from the bottom up. And then later they're going to start adding in with the really wow stuff or the really overpowered stuff or new subclasses or whatever comes our way that we don't know about. That's what his impression was. But I don't know, man. I'll just have to see. Let's talk about the portal system because, they showed a lot of the UI of the portal. And the one thing, and I'm going to mention this, the one thing I noticed when I looked at the portal system, especially in the solo area, which is what I'll be jumping into probably right off the bat. And of course, they're going to have the campaign stuff you can jump into, but at the bottom of each panel of the portal, it tells you how much of a power increase you're going to get. And each activity would drop you a different type of armor, which means no more RNG. God, I hope that the clan engram this week is a class item because that's the only thing I need to get the max power. Now you have a directed path to strategically or objectively build your power level. And it's all right there on the portal.
Not every single thing has a guaranteed item, but a lot of them do.
Yes.
So, yes.
And it's like, well, it may not even say you'll get a class item, but it says armor drop or whatever. And then it has an engram underneath it. It'll say 2 extra drops or whatever. So depending on what you're doing.
That stuff will be guaranteed.
Yes.
Or if it's things like a mission that has a certain type of thing, like we know the Whisper mission drops Whisper, but there was even another example they showed that like, this will drop a pulse rifle or something, and not everything's going to have that. But when they do have that, you're right; it's going to be more guaranteed on that.
See, I like this because they're respecting your time. They're telling you exactly what you need to play and what you can expect to get from it, and it even has a time on the bottom of it, how much they think it's going to take to complete this activity on average. That's fantastic, man. That's the stuff I need to know, especially in the solo playlist. But
for me, For me on that, it's not even a matter of respecting time because everyone has different definitions of what that means, respecting time. But this is where I have so many good things to say about the portal system. We'll keep talking, but most of the things I've seen over the time, my expectations have been perfectly level because I had them kind of lower anyways, or they've gone down a little bit. But portal system, my expectations actually went up. And I was so impressed when they were showing the portal system and all the things. You're right. Like, it tells you what modifiers you can pick, and how hard the difficulty will be, what power level you should be, what drops you'll get, how long the activity will take, all laid out in a very clean interface. This part, excellent what they did with it.
Yeah, and it gives you like a letter grade. It's like D. This is not going to be a very difficult. You didn't add a lot of modifiers that are difficult here. So you get a D, which means you're going to get this kind of loot. Or if you keep building it up, and God forbid, please don't have some of these perks in there that I hate, like attrition. Hate attrition. Something that restricts your able to get your.
Well,
life
you got to
back.
level up with something you don't like to do the
That's
harder
true.
level stuff.
But here's the thing: you can a la carte sit there and pick what you want to endure, and you get the promise of this reward if you do it. I love that part of it, man. And the fact that it tells you how many power levels up your gear is going to be, depending on how hard you make that activity. Like, you could get a +5 or even a +10, or I think they said +50. I don't know if that's true.
It just depends. Yeah.
It depends on what you're trying to do. You could easily power grind, and you have a direct path, and they said it's unlimited. You can just come back and keep playing these activities in Portal and just keep ranking up your stuff. So someone who likes to sit there and grind it out over 3 hours straight without any sleep is able to do it now. There's no daily limits or any of that crap. And now in the Portal, they had daily challenges, and they had a weekly challenge. Yeah. And they update them. They update them.
Yeah.
So I thought that was nice too. It brings me back a lot of Call of Duty vibes, where you jump into a match, and these three little objectives would come in and say, hey, if you do these, you'll get extra XP or a camo or something.
Yeah. Or Division has like this also.
Exactly.
It's funny, the layout menus on the Division aren't too off from this Portal system that I'm seeing. Yeah.
So I like that. I like the grind. I like doing the grind. I like number go up. I do like that. That hits all the areas of my dopamine centers. And the fact that it's all laid out in front of you, and it's not like, well, how much Crucible do I need to play and hopefully get that drop I'm looking for? It eliminates a lot of the RNG, and it gives you a direct path. And for me, it respects my time, because I know what I need to invest in the game. And I know what I need to do. If I want to, here's the great thing about it too, Kingsley. I can jump in every night and say, okay, I'm going to get my class item up 5 more points. So these are the activities I can do to do it. I'm going to jump in and do that tonight. And then tomorrow night, I'll work on my helmet, or I'll work on my higher tier weapon, and things like that. It gives me something to work on every night. And it compartmentalizes a lot of how things are done in this game. And for me, that sinks into my brain well. So.
Yeah. Well, yeah, for me, again, the Portal system is great. Even though I don't care about the grind part as much, I still love the layout. And when I do want to play things in it, the way they had way more options in it than I was expecting too. Like, when I think they were just holding back too much information. Like, I don't understand why Portal system had to be as much of a secret until this week, but I understand other things. But like, now that we got to see all the videos and people actually going through all the menus and all this stuff, like there was tons in there. And not only is it laid out great, it's very easy and obvious versus solo versus Fireteam versus Pinnacle. The type of activity, what it's like, all the stuff you mentioned, like how good of a drop you're going to get, how hard the activity it is, what the power level would recommend it be versus your power level. So, if, I made it too hard, I probably shouldn't go into, unless you're like to sweat it or something. This all seems amazing. Only one small complaint, and that's not directly related to the Portal system, but it's something that's only in the Portal system. Remember the new, okay, so we're a little confused. When they first said solo op, they were relating to a new activity. Now solo op means more than that. It means this new activity, which I'll get to in a second, or solo strike, or solo lost sector, or this or that, right? There's a lot of different solo op options.
Yep.
But the new activity, and I forget what it's called or if they even have a name yet, but Fallout went, or no, it was Datto went into it. And they were using the salt mines area, which isn't really easy to get to on patrol anymore. And that's where they added this new activity. And he said it actually was kind of crap. He hopes that they change it some. And I'm really sad to hear that, because I like new stuff. And this is a new thing coming to the game. And if one of the new things is not that great, and maybe it was just this one activity he did, hopefully there's other versions and stuff. But because even though the portal is good, I still don't want to be grinding strikes that I've done a million times over and over personally. So I was really hoping the new activity would be good. Again, everyone has different reasons for playing the game. My big concerns is how large and how variable the new destination will be and the new activities. And I'm already hearing that one of the new things is not great. And then some people might be getting frustrated with the puzzles in the campaign. So we'll see. I'm not saying I'm down on it, but there's a couple concerns here and there. But that's a side point. The portal system, again, I can't say enough good things about it. Really, I thought when I first saw it, and yeah, it's kind of boring looking compared to the map from before, but it all makes sense. It is the way to just kind of interact with the game and to know what's happening and to have it very obvious laid out system. This will be a boon for new players and players that have been around for a long time, I think.
Yeah, I
had no idea I would like it this much. The portal system.
See, I'm just the opposite. Yeah. I'm actually going to play a lot of strikes now that I can play them solo in a certain instance because, I've already talked about this. When I'm trying to get Vanguard bounties or whatever challenges or whatever it may be, and I want to jump in and start power leveling some stuff, and I can go run these strikes that normally people would blast past me on. I like to look around and absorb and take in the aesthetics and stuff. And don't get me wrong, I'm still wanting to kill stuff and get my fix, but like I said, it's going to be nice to just jump in on a night and say, okay, I got an hour. I'm going to do some strikes tonight in solo ops. And this is what I'm going to get for it. This is how much time it says it's going to take. Let's see if I can crank out four of these in the next hour and be done with it. And then I'll work on something else tomorrow. I like the accessibility of it. And granted, you can always go to all the shinies on the map if you want to, but if you want to go through the new Kepler, I'm thinking day one, I'm going to play the campaign first, probably on Legendary solo. And then I'm probably going to jump right into solo ops and just start power grinding stuff. And, because obviously the story is very important to me, and we'll talk about that as our question of the week later on. But, some other,
For me?
Yeah. How are you going to jump?
People, even though Gator said that, I highly recommend, unless you're a tryhard player, because a lot of people regretted it with Final Shape, play the campaign on normal first, because you're going to want to run through the campaign twice anyways, right?
It's going to be replayable.
And then if you play it on normal first, then when you do Legendary, it's a lot easier than doing Legendary in the first place. Mm-hmm. I can't tell you how many people I was talking to when Final Shape was around that started it on Legendary, because everyone's like, do Legendary because the extra drops. There was a lot of peer pressure going there, and they could have done Legendary easier after they were used to the campaign if they did normal first. True. I'm not saying you shouldn't do Legendary if you know what you're doing, but I highly recommend doing the campaign on normal first if you're not sure.
Especially if you're not, especially if you haven't been playing Destiny for a long time like we have been.
Even if you have like me, I do it on normal first and then I run it again on Legendary. And
that's fun. Because, especially if you just want to play through the story and just realize what the story is and you're not worried about dying all the time. I get that. I'm not
having to wait.
I can't remember how to find out what happens. I did it on Legendary. I did everything on Legendary first because I wanted those double chest drops. But anyway, we all have our different ways of playing, and that's what's great about the portal. Whatever way you want to play. And I remember them saying you could play Crucible to your heart's content. I'm thinking of Warcry here because he's always underpowered for a raid or something because all he plays is Crucible. But now he can fully level up playing Crucible, and I love that part of it. I love that you aren't forced to go play something that you don't want to play. And have to get that, in order to get your loot or whatever you want to get. Yeah. So I like that. I like the portal aspect.
For the people that don't like the grind, and we had a couple comments, they were a lot earlier in the show. Mm-hmm. There were some concerns about their overcomplicating things and making a lot more grind in the game. For the people that do like grind, it's funny, you say you like the new portal system and you're going to be excited to do all these things, but you played a lot of Destiny anyways already. You already liked doing bounties and grinding things and stuff. So for me, I don't see you playing your Destiny time changing because you already like grind things anyways.
That's new stuff.
For someone like us that don't like grind as much and just like actual content,
want to just play.
We're still concerned. Okay. All this stuff that they're adding, I'm not saying it's bad. They should do it. Mm-hmm. But I think my prediction's right that people that don't enjoy grind as much are still going to drop off like a month later. I don't see this keeping people around any more than before.
I remember in Data's questions videos that he compared this, in his mind's eye to No Man's Sky. I mean, it was really hot when No Man's Sky first came out, but then we all knew there was nothing to play in that game. And it was a hot mess as far as technically the game was freezing and having all kinds of issues. Not what they promised, but they stuck to it and kept, just like Division 2, they stuck to it and kept improving the base of the game. And he acts like that's what Destiny's trying to do here. They're trying to get back to
that means we have another 5 years until it's good.
Could be. For us, it may not be good, but he acts like they, from what they're expressing, that they want to make a stable game with a good, strong base and then have it fun for everybody and then expand out from there. And who knows what that means? It could be Renegades before we see something that appeals to us, veterans out there, but we'll have to just see. They're obviously going to be telling us more and more every week. And I have a feeling these content creators have more they want to talk about, but I have a feeling they were time gated on when they release these videos. So I have a feeling they're going to release more videos with different areas as well. So, and they obviously also, because redoing systems, let's not talk it up too much. And sometimes they can be easier to do than new content, like as far as development time. So since they didn't have as much that they could put in, since they said this will be less content than previous years, of course they need to make the systems more. They need to add in more grind, more numbers, because for the people that do like to grind, then at least there's more to do when you run out of the campaign content and stuff like that. And he did mention that playing the campaign was probably going to be the easiest way to level at first, just like it always is. Usually going to get the most leveling up playing just the campaign, which I always recommend. That's the first thing anybody should do, is play the story. I'm amazed that Warcry doesn't know anything about Final Shape, but he plays Crucible every week. So it boggles my mind. I'm like, dude, you haven't done the story. That's a great story. You need to play it, man. But he plays Crucible. That's what he does. I'm not picking on Warcry. I'm just saying the fact that he's played like halfway through Final Shape just boggles my mind, because that's the fun part of this game, is the story part. But the portal system,
the fun part. That's why I want more. The fun part isn't grinding.
I know you like discoverability. You want to discover new stuff, and I know that's where you're coming from with your.
You even said it. It's the fun part.
No, I do too. I'm with you there. But then once you discover all the new stuff, then I'm going to start getting into grind mode. So I'm just wondering if these unstable cores, and they show that they give away unstable cores in the portal, they're really directing people to this portal, because that's really going to be how they really are pushing people to get used to this portal system. But let's see, there's going to be a seasonal hub. I mentioned that daily, weekly. The Arms Week, the special events like Heavy Metal. You remember it had like a little home base. Well, they showed the Arms Week is going to have its own home base as well. So they're using those portal spots where they have a home base for the activity for the week. You can expect that kind of stuff. There's 20 weekly ranks for each special event. Just like there was in Heavy Metal. I think it was 20 ranks.
Like the Heavy Metal thing, Mm-hmm.
So Arms Week will be the same thing, and it's going to be some tier of gun that you'll be probably working for. I'm really looking forward. I can't wait till they start talking about that, because it's guns for me. That's why I love this game. Let's see. The vouchers we talked about, you're going to be able to bring 8 to 1 to reroll your exotics. I think you're given 20 vouchers at the start. Like I said, for those who want to grind, you're going to be rewarded for your time that you play. I mean, I put even in the notes, fucking finally, because I hate when you have some mystery on how, give me that path. I need to know the path to rank my stuff up. And I know that's not what you like, Kingsley, but, I just finally feel like
it's not like I don't like the path. I just don't like grind at all, no matter what type of grind it is, path or no path. Yeah. I
think
it's good that they added the path, because again, that is the portal system is one of the best things they can do. Obviously, I'll be using it some, but I am going to be like, level 200 campaign done. I've done the new stuff 50 times already. I'm out. I don't want to be just grinding strikes every day just to see my number go higher, which was for what purpose,
Yeah, exactly. But I just feel like for the first time in a long time, I'm going to be able to look and invest into the game with my time and decide where I want to go and what I want to do. And I love that part of it. So that was the big upside for me when I saw these videos. It's like, oh, this is awesome. This portal is awesome. This is really going to be cool. They had portions where the streamers could actually ask Bungie questions from their communities. I had a few highlights here I wanted to mention. And if there's something else you want to mention, Kingsley, definitely let me know.
My list is pretty much done, so just wherever you
I'm towards the end of my list. I'm toward the end of my list because, I mean, there was so much information dumped this week that I just started jotting down as much as I could pick up from watching videos. They said with the new, and Allison Lures and kind of slipped and said this, but she went that there's parts of the story, this new story saga, that won't pay off for years. She used years. So they are really invested in this new storyline. The goal of the Edge of Fate was to bring Destiny into a place of consistency, plus be more innovative as far as what they're, how you play the game. And I think it looks like they're heading in the right direction here. But they said that, Allison said this, I believe, the story is based off we as players making our own choices versus like this big baddie that comes to us and we have to react to it like the Light and Dark saga was. We're going to actually have choices and make our own choices on where we want to go in this campaign or in this storyline. That was very intriguing to me. Another note I had was, the Edge of Fate eliminates that slap in the face of returning to the game after a break and getting, all those weekly pages. They get the flash of weekly pages from all the weeks you missed. The cache, the cache pages that pop in when you first log into the game. It's going to eliminate that splash, that smack to the face, that slap in the face, and where you can just entices you just to jump in and start playing. And she said this, and I thought I really picked up on this. As far as the story, Allison said they never want to punish the player for not knowing something about the game. So the new saga, they said, is going to bring along everybody, new or old, which is enticing. I'm curious how they're going to do that exactly from people who join later, like you joined with Taken King. I was well before that. And there was a big learning curve when you joined in the middle of the Destiny experience. No new Crucible maps, but they said,
so what do you think that means? I think that just means the power level being reset to 10.
Everybody starts over.
She said that?
So they're going with the Diablo model where they're going to reset every season. And I guess I'm okay with that. I'll have to see, being that it's more deterministic loot, you can actually focus where you want to work and what you want to work on in the game. Then I don't know. I'll come back and ask me that after this season's over, this next season. And I'll tell you if it was worth the grind or not, because I don't know how hard this grind is going to be. And I guess until we jump in and start playing it, I won't know for sure. But
look, if you love grind, and let's say it can only go to 450 in a season,
right?
Then if they didn't reset each time, then within like 4 seasons down the road, it's going to be up to like 2,000 again or something. So like, doesn't it, if you love grind, doesn't it almost make sense to reset? Because then you can grind again. You like creating new characters, new accounts. That's the same idea.
It's the same thing. Yeah. It's the progression is what I love in the game, is bringing up characters.
You should be happy that it's resetting. It's more to grind.
Well, that's probably the equation where they're going to be able to bring new or old players right along, because everyone's going to be at the same, everybody's going to be in the same place on when the season resets. So I'll have to come back to that and see what I think once I get into this. No new Crucible maps, big surprise, but they said they're going to give more worthy rewards when you play Crucible. So, like they're going to have, I'm sure there's going to be like a Crucible, armor set that's going to have a lot of key stuff you can use when you're playing Crucible. My question is, if Allison Lures Tyson Green was in front of me right now, I would say, can we use ornaments over these pieces, which I'm assuming we can, and will they still give us the stackable ability if we're using an ornament over it? That would be a question I would have for him, because I love using ornaments I like having I gotta have my Destiny, man. I gotta have my look when it comes to that stuff. But that is all I had from all the videos I watched this week. A lot of them overlapped and talked about the same thing, but the big takeaway for me, Kingsley, is that now I can invest my time where I want to in the game. And the only concern, of course, which you're probably going to say, is where's the new content? Are we going to be playing strikes that are old and we played a million times? Who knows? We'll have to see. But knowing that I can go play a solo, in the solo ops, go play a strike that I like to play, and then start adding these modifiers in it to make it a little more challenging, and knowing that I'm going to get this kind of loot or this kind of power jump, I'm looking forward to that, man. So what is your...
And then you'll quickly reach all the modifiers you don't like, and then you'll get frustrated pretty quickly.
And we're gamers, and JD can't even mention this.
You're like, I can't do master mode unless I do 20 modifiers, and they're all ones I don't like.
Well,
I call it that.
JD can't... I mean, he hit the point here. He says, people are going to figure out what you can do for the least amount to get the most benefit. He kind of said that around. He was saying it a different way.
Sure, but
we're gamers.
I think, but with the modifiers for the activities, and especially there were some too. Okay, so there was a lot of these you could pick your modifiers, but there was something they called, I forget the word. It was like featured or something. Those ones have preset. You can't change those modifiers. Right. And if those have the weapons you want or the armor you want, I could see complaining there. If they're modifiers you don't like, and then also even on the activities you can set your own modifiers. Let's say you want to go from like legend level to master level, and it's like you have to add 15 more bad modifiers, and you're looking at the list, and you're like, I don't like that one, I don't like that one, I don't like that one. Man, stupid game, they're all ones I don't like. So that could still happen.
That can very much happen, and like I said, the fact that I can just play activities that I'm comfortable playing and not have to really stress too much. Maybe I had a long day and I just want to kill some shit and play on some easy modifiers through a strike or a crucible match or whatever, then I have the choice to do it. It just gives all the choice to us as a player, and I think that's good. That was my big takeaway from everything they talked about this week is, I mean, that's the thing that hit home with me is the fact that we can power level and grind, unlimited grind, however much time you want to spend on it, and not rely on bounties. And I think JD Kent mentioned that, DMG mentioned that, hinted that we wouldn't be able to stack bounties. I'm good with that. I'm fine with that. I don't care.
I mean, bounties have been slowly dying over the years anyways.
Yeah.
Kind of known.
And they have time limits on them, which just drives me nuts, man. Because sometimes I'll grab bounties and scoop them up and come back and they're already gone because I forgot that I got them. So...
well, how are you feeling about, I mean, we knew this too, because they weren't going to change it from last November, but how do you feel about, were you secretly hoping that they would go more into weapon crafting, which obviously isn't the case?
I was really hoping they were going to.
I don't know why, because they told us in November it wasn't happening.
I know, so. But you know, the fact that if we have a tier 5 weapon, we can actually enhance the barrel and magazine perks and stuff and enhance them.
On 4 you can.
On 4 and 5, yeah. So that got me excited. That'll probably make me grind a little bit for those weapons. And then once you'll have those weapons, they'll be in your vault ready to use. But it won't matter because I don't have any vault space to put anything. So then I'll have to start throwing out the baby with the bathwater, so to speak, because I'll have to start throwing out weapons that I really love to use. But because my vault is maxed out, well, I will probably be able to eliminate probably 50 slots because I'm going to just get rid of all my exotics, everything. I'm just going to get rid of them all since it's going to the new system. I'm going to free up 50 slots right away. So, JD Kent, I give 3 days and a streamer will have a spreadsheet with the fastest way to level. Of course, like I said, man, we're gamers.
Yeah.
We're going to figure out how to do the grind most efficiently. And that's just us as gamers.
Yeah. Cause that's been going on every year
of
Destiny. I remember in Forsaken, that was the last time I kind of grinded hard. And it was mostly because, it was one of the first times they added so many more things. And so it was interesting. I like a lot of new activities like the Gambit stuff and everything, was new. Even strikes, they added a few more. And the current strikes that we had weren't too old yet because it was only year 2.
Right. Yep.
So it was a fun time to grind because the content was still somewhat fresh. But now, so what I took away from this.
Yeah, I was going to ask you that.
My expectations are still middle of the road. Nothing's really any worse. There's a couple minor concerns I have. I already knew a lot of this stuff that it would be, they kind of hinted with the portal, things are going to be more deterministic, more, you can pick certain things. So like, I'm not like blown away by this. The only thing I'm blown away was just how good the portal system actually looks, not necessarily the details. And then I think, just wait and see. I'm curious, really kind of like what'll keep me coming back because I know there's a lot of people that feel the same way I do too about like, the game's fun and all, but like when it's, I was looking at some of the Kepler things, they only showed us the first mission.
Yeah.
And I'll be fair, maybe every other mission will look totally different, but the first mission, even though it's supposed to be on this alien planet, it looks same old to me.
Yeah,
Everything kind of looked the same. Enemies were like the same, other than a few new factions here and there.
Yeah.
And we're really getting long in the tooth with actual content. And that's, again, why I want a Destiny 3 with like all new enemies, all new weapons, everything new. But I'm excited to check out the new stuff. Of course, I'm going to be hopping in it in day one.
Sure.
I love the portal system, and everything else is just for the people that like to grind, great. And I predict there will be some people complaining about the complicated nature of the building. And then that's it. No bad or good concerns on one extreme or the other.
Yeah, middle
the road for me.
All my pie in the sky, Destiny shill hopes and dreams for the future of Destiny. I've been kind of a little bit jaded lately, so I'm a more realistic, and I'm trying to keep. Yeah,
realistic is good.
Yeah, and I know I've never been that way. I've always been, man, they can do so much with this game. What if they did this and this? And the copium was really, it was everywhere in this bedroom. But I'm keeping an open mind. I'm very much keeping my expectations at bay though, because everything I saw from these videos this week, I got excited, especially with the grind and stuff, and the weapons look badass. I mean, yeah, who doesn't want a projectile pulse rifle? I do. I want one.
So, and the people that don't like pulses, that's who.
My two favorite weapons. You have rocket-assisted sidearms, and you're going to have rocket-assisted pulse rifles.
I could say the same thing. Who doesn't want a badass hand cannon? Because a lot of people like hand cannons, but you don't like that.
I don't like hand cannons. Yeah, I'm not going to. So, I did like the sight on it, though. The fact that it had a really good sight. Mm-hmm. I like using Hawkman because it has a nice big red dot sight on it. So we'll have to see.
Yeah.
I'll see if I like that or not. So, hey, good talk, man. I know there was a lot of information. It was just so hard to organize it this week. And we didn't want to read verbatim off the TWAB. We wanted to just kind of give our impressions of what we got from all this information this week. And of course, I'll be tuning in to that TWAB when it comes to materials and economy, because that gets in my craw when they create some kind of currency that's very rare and it creates a bottleneck. And then it doesn't matter how much you grind because you don't have enough of these, what do they call them? Shards, unstable shards, enhancement cores or something. I'll have to see. Cores, I think. As soon as I saw that in the videos, I was like, oh no, here we go again. So we'll have to just see. We'll just have to see on that part. Hey, let's before we wrap up tonight, let's answer some questions from our community, and then we'll go over our question of the week, and then we'll call it a night tonight. So we'll be
sounds good.
Right back. Hey Guardians, would you like to send a question for the show to us? There are 4 ways to do it. First, you can join our Discord server at discord.gg/GuardianDowncast. There's also a join link in our show notes down below. We have Guardians from all walks of life and all over the world, from new lights to day one players to hardcore gamers. There's also a channel labeled Podcast Questions where you can type in your question for the show. So come hang out with us. You can also email us with your question at guardiandowncast@gmail.com, or we also occasionally post about our upcoming show and guest, and you can respond there with your question at Guardian_D_cast is our X handle. Finally, you can send us a voicemail with your question at guardiandowncast.com, and we might play it on the podcast. Think of it as talking with us right on the show. Thanks for listening, and later, Guardian. All right, boys and girls, this is the part of the show where we get our questions from you guys, and we don't have a ton of questions in the Discord this week, but we do have some, and I want to make sure we address them because we're not going to be live. Repeat, we're not going to be live the next 2 weeks. We will have episodes coming out, but they're going to be a little bit different than what you're used to. Hopefully, you'll like them. First is Deadpool1 Merc, one of our patrons. Question for the show: is Trials of Osiris still the pinnacle PvP experience it was meant to be, or has it lost its prestige? I know you don't play a ton of Trials, Kingsley, but what do you think, man?
As far as I can tell, even after this big Trials update that came out recently and they made so many good changes, It already seems like a couple months in, people are like not caring again. Do you think it's just player population in general, or do you think
simple.
There's nothing they can do to make Trials perfect. I mean, what do you think it is?
For me, what drives me to play Trials is weapons and armor. I always want to get the
but
newest
they made that
armor.
Better.
Yeah, they did. Yeah. But once I got it, I was like, okay, I don't need to play. I don't need to kill myself every weekend to play Trials anymore.
You're in a situation with everything, not just Trials. Then, oh my gosh. But then you like crafted weapons, same thing. Like once you get those, why would you want to play the content anymore?
Yeah, but
that's why people think RNG is actually better, because it gets you to play more if you don't get a drop.
It's a double-edged sword, though. Yeah. If someone takes 50 runs at a strike to get a raid, to get the raid exotic, I don't think I would have lasted 50 tries. We were talking to Potato Thumbs last week about one of their community members making a run 50 times in DSC before they got the launcher. I'm like, I would have never made it that far. But I mean, I love playing Trials. When the population is good, the problem is you have the same old hardcore. Let's face it. If you're on PC, cheaters. If you're on console, it's the what is it? The modded controllers and stuff that people use. So Astrocross nailed it this morning.
Do you think that's a majority though? Like over 50%? Like.
The problem,
I think people complain about it a little bit more than they need to. But
the problem with PvP these days is you don't know, was he just a very good crack shot and killed me in one shot, or was that aim assist? Was that a it's on a min?
And that will always be the case.
It'll always be the case. But if you play enough PvP, I sometimes
laugh and shake my head at the PvPers. It's like
if you play enough, I've died so many times in PvP, and I know when I lost the battle. I know when I lost it when I'm going against a gunfight. But when you come across the same guy every 3 times and he's 2-tapping with you a hand cannon, then you got to start wondering, okay, does the guy have an aimbot? Because I'm not exactly standing still for this guy. I'm strafing, I'm moving around, I'm hitting him with a strong weapon back, and it just has no effect. That's when I start to wonder, I'm wondering if he's using some kind of device, or is he using a Zim on console, or is he just have some kind of hardware or some kind of software injected into the code of the game on PC? You never know these days. But you know what that's done? You know what that's done for me though? I don't take it as seriously anymore now. It doesn't matter if I'm playing Call of Duty, Battlefield, Destiny 2, or whatever. I don't take it so seriously anymore because of the fact that exploits are so broad now, and people can turn them on and off. It's Cronus device. I know with the Cronus device, I know there's a toggle where you can turn it on and off. The Cronus device has come a long way over the years. Like I said, I used one a long time ago, back when you couldn't convert an Xbox controller. You can use a PlayStation controller on an Xbox. I use the Cronus for that. But there was a model you could have bought that is programmable. You could do like rapid fire on your weapon, all kinds of crazy shit. And there's even controllers you can do it too that are programmable, and you can do all kinds of crazy shit.
Yeah, we know all this. So the question then is, can they do anything really? We're in year 10. They always keep saying, it'll get better. Promise. It'll get better. We're working on the cheaters.
I don't know.
There's at some point you got to be like, fool us 10 times. Shame on me. You know what I mean? Like,
I think down the road, when it comes to multiplayer PvP games, I think eventually there'll be a system in place where people can't use the exploits anymore, but I don't know how many decades down the road that's going to be. I may be according to Lana, I may be dead by
if there's no
then.
way to do it now, great, then you're right. The best way is just to have your expectations
someone just has your number every time you turn a corner, then you don't know if he could have 3D. He could have you could have X-ray on the map and know exactly where you're going all the time. So, if people have to revert to that for a video game, then I really hate to feel what the rest of your life is like, where you can't use cheats. So anyway,
people want to win. Obviously, you want to win too. So
yeah, but what good is
to win? Is
it's an empty victory, Kingsley. What if I don't care if I got 1,000. I don't care if I got 10,000 flawlesses. What good is it if I know I used a stupid cheating controller
It's not empty to everyone, actually.
Yeah, but
I'm not saying I feel that way.
It's usually younger people. It's usually younger people.
Yes, exactly. Yeah.
And once they grow up,
that's why they do it. Even just because that would be empty to you doesn't mean it would be empty to them. It
depends on where they're at in life. And I don't know. Even back then, I was salty as hell. Back in my, I've always been salty when it comes to multiplayer, but I still love playing it.
Sorry, I have to say one last thing, because I always just shake my head and laugh with all these PvP discussions.
Right.
the point is to win, right? When you're playing PvP. Yet every single time when I'm watching people's streams, almost every single time, they're complaining when the other team is winning, even when cheats aren't happening. Cheats aren't happening every single match. You'll hear things like, oh, they're being sweaty. Look at these guys just being sweaty. I'm like, isn't that the point? Aren't you supposed to win?
It depends it depends on the activity. If you're playing Iron Banner, it's kind of more of a party.
You're not supposed to win in Iron Banner? You're supposed to win there too.
Yeah, winning's nice, but I don't go in when I play Iron Banner. I don't go in to win anymore. I go in to have fun with the community.
Then why shoot anyone?
But you're not trying to win. At the same time, Kingsley, even though I don't win the game, I'm always trying to improve my aim, my shot, my strafe speed, how I handle a situation, which is why you should record your gameplay when you're playing PvP if you want to get better.
You're truly not caring if you're win. Like I'm not when I go. I mean,
my win percentages. I play so much solo, Kingsley. My win percentages are always going to be like 50% or 48% or something. And I know my win percentage is never going to be good. Versus if I had a kill or two other guys that I played with every week that I know would carry my ass through all the matches. And I have an 80% win rate, but I know if those two guys didn't show up one week, then oh shit. So a win percentage really doesn't mean anything.
To hear that. I actually respect that more. I just feel like most people going into PvP, the point is to win the match, right? So,
the point is competition. And if they're better competitors and they outplayed you that game, I'll even say it. I said, man, that team had our number. They just outplayed us. I'll even say it on stream if I'm streaming. And there'll be times where, like I said, I'll get that one person who two taps me with a hand cannon that shouldn't be two tapping me, because they have very perfect aim. And one time I'm like, okay, I got a good shot on me. But when it happens 5 times in a row on the same match, I'm like, okay, something is not right with this dude. There's no way that you're 100% accurate every time. And that's when you just quit worrying about it. Yeah.
One last thing. Sorry. I just feel like,
Coach.
It's respectable hearing what you say, but so many people are unfair. Another thing I hear when they're losing, I always hear like, oh, they need to mercy this game quicker. But you never hear people say that when they're winning. We need to mercy the game quicker. And I just feel like people are unfair. You know what I mean? Like,
And I'm realistic. I realize that when I'm playing Iron Banner, or I'm playing with a community, that there's all varying types of skills. And my biggest thing that I want to get out of that match is I just want everybody to have a good time. And I don't want someone to feel like, man, I got stomped again. I'm not going to play anymore. So,
well, what about the people that only have a good time if they're winning matches?
Like I said, it's a double-edged sword. If you're playing with the same 5 other guys every night and you guys want to play sweaty every night and pub stomp, then fine. If that's how you get your jollies, then fine. It's a video game, and if I was on a company softball team like I used to do, and I used to play softball, I definitely want to win. I definitely want to win. I'm not saying I'm going to lay down and just say, well, we're just here to have fun. I'm not that kind of guy. But when it comes to video games, I've realized I have limits to my abilities. And I just realized that if I want to continue to play Crucible or PvP based games, I just need to accept the fact that sometimes, like Fluffy said, was a little bit this last week, sometimes it's just chaos and there's not really much you have control over. And then the more smaller matches, you just don't have as much experience, or you're not a critical thinker as the other team. And maybe their Twitch reflexes are a little bit better than yours. I've come to the fact that I accept that, but it's the bullshit when I get killed so easily, consistently in one match, that I start to question, I've played enough Crucible to know that nobody two taps you every time you go against them. And I'm just saying there's not many hand cannons that even two tap. Especially I've got 80, I've got a tier 8 resilience. I know what it takes to two tap, and it's just very hard to do in this game. So, all right, you can get me going down when it comes to Crucible. Decrease 123. He said, with the current state of Destiny and Bungie, do you think making a Destiny 3 would fix or ruin the current predicament it is in? This is more for you, I bet.
So that's hard to answer, because do they mean, the state of Destiny and Bungie, would it fix or ruin it? I mean, I think it would fix it, because I've talked to a lot of people that said that even hearing about these new changes that are coming out, they're not interested in coming back to Edge of Fate. They stepped away from the game. But if they were to make a Destiny 3, they would come back. I think there's more things that can be changed with the Destiny 3. I know streamers are trying to keep a good face with Bungie, but this is not Destiny 3. Destiny 3 would be all new maps, all new planets, all new weapons, all new enemies. We all start from scratch, earning things together, all new strikes. Like, everything is new. I mean, sure, you can have a couple weapons that you bring back, but that's like 5%. It's not the majority of it. And most importantly, an all new engine so that you can have even more systems in place, like live loot drops that are always happening, like Diablo or things like that. You don't have to worry about vault issues because you have a better engine that's next gen only and everything. So of course they can make a horrible Destiny 3, but they can also make a horrible Edge of Fate. So I'm not going to go down that road. Well, what if Destiny 3 isn't good? But I still think Destiny 3 would be a better option. That's been my opinion for many years.
Yeah, we can get into the other game they're making, the other PvP game they're making.
What's it called again? Marathon?
Marathon, yes. It's definitely getting late because I'm fading. The Marathon game, and we haven't heard anything. It's been radio silent from Sony. I know sure as hell they didn't mention it in their state of play, which is not a good sign. So, but it'd be nice to know if they were working on a Destiny 3. It would have been very nice to do. For me, Destiny 3 to me means a fresh start. For me, I want a fresh start. I want to start over, hit the reset button. And with the new armor changes, and the power changes they're making and the fact they're resetting it every season, I don't know if I like that part, but it kind of feels like a fresh start. And it's a fresh story.
No, you still have all your old stuff.
Yeah, you still have your old stuff. That'd be the only difference with a Destiny 3 is you would have to start accumulating your weapons again. But you're kind of having to do that anyway because a lot of the weapons are now tiered and you're looking for the higher tier weapons. There's still going to be a chase there, I think.
Well, there's a chase anyways with every season. Forget tier systems. There's always new weapons that come out.
Yeah.
So that doesn't have to do with the Destiny 3. But
but what would a Destiny 3 be though? What would it be? Would it be a totally different universe? Would it be the same characters?
All new planets, all new locations, all new weapons, all new characters, all new classes, all new. You know what I mean? Like
all new NPCs, everything, all new.
I mean, you could have a few things here and there. How they went from Destiny 1 to Destiny 2 was barely enough change, but at least it was still you starting from scratch, all new. I don't think I'm going to like rolling around like a ball.
I'm with you there, JD. I'm worried about that part. I'm hoping it's not a game
me too. And that was part of the frustrations that Dado and Fallout had. Like doing the puzzles weren't horrible. Sorry, we're getting sidetracked. Doing the puzzles weren't necessarily horrible, but like executing things were like a little frustrating at times. Yeah. Regardless. But yeah, Destiny 3 would be like all new stuff for it to be good. I mean, I do not buy the lines that this is like a Destiny 3, this new thing, because until they can fix engine things and have better vault issues and all these things, they're still doing things to make the game better. I'm not saying that, but that they're not. But this is in no way what a Destiny 3 should be or would be if they made a Destiny 3. This is still light years different than what an actual new game would be. Here's
the thing. That feeling when you first played Destiny, remember that feeling when you're like, wow, I can do anything. This is amazing. Mm-hmm. We're chasing the dragon. You're never going to get that feeling again because we played the game.
Yeah, a new game.
But if Ubisoft came out with a game very similar to Destiny, but had a whole new storyline and a whole new interface and stuff, we'd have that feeling again. I just don't know if a Destiny 3 fixes that initial feeling when you first played Destiny. No,
sure it would, because if it's all new stuff, like the Ubisoft example, they would make, that's what they would do, is make it more than even a change from Destiny 2 to Destiny 1. Like,
I'm just thinking if maybe it's a Destiny fatigue thing and that we need a whole different game with maybe the same elements as Destiny.
I see what you're saying. Well, yeah, I would even like that maybe more than a Destiny 3 also.
Yeah. Okay.
When I say Destiny 3, it can also mean space fun new game.
Yeah. Space battles.
Or whatever. But if we're staying in the Destiny universe, making a Destiny 3 to me is still more new than Edge of Fate.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. JD Kent, I just wonder if the puzzles are only in the campaign, or do you have to go into a lost sector? Do you have to roll around 10 times to finish it? I don't know. We don't know. I know these puzzles will only be on Kepler, so.
Well, they'll only be on Kepler, but we're assuming there will be lost sectors on Kepler too.
Sure.
They've never not had lost sectors in any new destination.
Yeah.
But that'd be funny in a lost sector. I kind of doubt lost sectors would have puzzles in them. So that would be my guess. Yeah.
Well, Amazing Taco King mentioned here also that I feel like a good start for Destiny 3 would be new races being given the light, no pre-made classes, just some starter weapons and a basic power set for us to go to Reese or Tora Bottle. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. And then can you imagine you could have a class that could do anything? Like you build into Warlock, but you can switch to Titan without going to a different actual character. A lot of games do this.
Yeah.
You can change your class on that character. There's so many things they could do with Destiny 3 that would just be so earth-changing that would be too hard to program in the current environment. So the sky's the limit.
So you go to Tora Bottle and you're just a lowly guardian and you're treated like dirt and you have to slowly make your way and impress higher members of the Cabal and finally get up until you're, up there and then branch out from there. I mean, it's like total progression all over again. You're right, man. They can go all kinds of different directions. I'm just sad that they didn't go the Destiny 3 direction, it doesn't mean they won't down the road, but how long it takes to make a game.
Well, yeah, like best case scenario, if they did do a Destiny 3, we know we have another year of planned content after Edge of Fate. So what would so if they even did the quickest a Destiny 3 would be is like they somehow make a decision this year, like, okay, this isn't working either with what comes out, but they're still going to have one more year of content after that because it's already kind of being worked on, at least somewhat, at this point. And then but then they can start working on Destiny 3 mid of next year when the stuff's done for next year. And then a new game takes 3 to 5 years. So 6 years would be best case scenario. And that's why I've been saying this like 3 years ago, they should have been working on it,
Yeah.
But anyways.
JD Kent, do you think you would like a prequel game? I've been talking about that forever, man. I want to know how did how did Ikora get to be a badass with a shotgun? I want to know that story. I'm telling you, I agree. They can go anywhere with the story. It's so rich. And reason why I still think,
though, to be fair, okay, so one cool thing about this new thing, the new Edge of Fate, since we're not on this light and darkness story that is contained, they actually can go back in time with another season coming forward. So we can have another new destination that is like EDZ in the past or something like that.
Absolutely.
So they definitely can do that. I think that's a cool idea, regardless, that they should do even in the current Destiny 2, and hopefully they will. I'm
really curious how far they're going to go in Renegades with this Star Wars theme. It's really got my curiosity, but that Amazing Taco King, that's sort of what Destiny Rising is exploring, being a prequel. Yeah, it has a lot of stories of a lot of NPCs that we know very well right now that are much younger in their youth. So yeah, I could see that too. We have one more Destiny question. It's from Exile. Coming into the final shape, I thought it would be cool if the catch to the wish magic that brought Cade 6 back would make him evil. Tease everyone with the return of Cade 6 and Nathan Fillion only for him to be evil and have us kill him. Comedy gold. Anyway, my wish not coming true, and there being a long history in the lore of Guardians losing it, Shayura, Dredgen, Yor, do you think we'll ever get to battle a rogue Guardian? It's a good question.
Yeah. I mean, hopefully. That sounds cool.
I mean, we just mentioned it, Exile. Destiny can go in all kinds of directions here. So,
remember what everyone was guessing, that everyone's prediction was false, that we were going to ride the Dreadnought off at the end of the season to the next expansion? That is not happening at all.
No, I had such high hopes for what Bungie would be, but fingers crossed the open world PvP bounty hunting comes in Renegades. Yeah, there you go. Okay, we got a couple non-Destiny questions, and then we'll go through our questions. We can call it a night. HD Tech. All right, so it's getting hot here, everyone. So question for the show. What do you keep your AC set to, and do you use a schedule to make nighttime hotter than daytime?
Good question.
This is going to be a very different answer for me and Kingsley, because we live in totally different climates. But
I lived in Southern California before.
That's true.
Other than if you live along the coast in Southern California, it's almost as humid as Florida, and it's still not the same. But anyways,
Sure.
but I did live about half an hour in from the coast, so I was kind of like a mix. But anyways, I've always been lucky enough, other than like in my 20s and my first house, to not worry about. Okay, obviously, a lot of people program into the equation money, because the lower you set your thermostat, the more money it's going to cost. And so if people are struggling with money or whatever, you kind of have the sayings like, oh, set it at really high, 76 or something like that, to, so it won't cost as much money. Luckily, I've been privileged enough in life. I haven't really had to worry about that as much.
Comfort.
So since I haven't, I know the technicalities. I mean, I'm sure HVAC people will know this too. It really depends on your house, how many vents you have, if you have multiple floors, if you have multiple HVAC systems. But that being said, on average, I generally do during the day no hotter than 74, kind of like between 72 to 74. And then at night, definitely go down to 70. Because it's kind of proven too, people sleep better in cooler temperatures
I agree.
than during the day. So if anything, you should have nighttime lower than daytime. Save money during the day, make it a little bit warmer there if you have to save money. So 70 during the summer for sleeping.
Okay.
Sometimes cooler, but 70 is usually pretty good at my house. And then 73 to 74-ish. I used to go as high as 76, but I'm more about 74-ish during the day.
Dude, 72, I've never experienced 72 unless you're in a commercial building in Florida. Florida gets so hot on our Florida houses. We typically are looking to, one, eliminate the humidity. That's the first thing. But I tend to go, like, for instance, if it's a record heat day, it's like almost 100. I'm not going to get anything higher than 80 out of my air conditioning unit. They work way too hard down here in Florida.
Really?
Yeah, 80 would be
so weird.
I mean, if you're in a commercial building that had super chillers and stuff like the school systems down here do, easily 72 all day long. You'll be freezing.
Arizona and California get just as hot or hotter.
I don't know if it's the humidity or what, but dry weather it's much. I think the humidity adds an extra layer to HVAC systems here.
But central air does good with humidity because it naturally dries things out.
It's everything out.
So
it pumps it right out.
That is weird to hear. So you're saying you can never get lower than 72 in your house? Ever? I mean, during summertime?
Let's just say I'm not a cheapskate. It's just our house in the summertime right now, we're like midsummer. It's like low summer. I would say we get into like 90, 92 during the day. I'll have the thermostat usually around 78 to 79, even 80 on the hottest day.
Whoa.
Yeah. But I come home and it's refreshing when I come home. Hey, Elmer Fudd, how you doing, buddy?
Well, sure, until you sit around for a while and then you can get warm again. But
I'm telling you, you don't need to be, it doesn't, my wife would be turning that stuff up because she gets cold very easily. At nighttime, it's right now, I can tell you, it's 77 degrees is what we set it at to sleep in. And that's very comfortable.
Jeez.
It's very comfortable.
Wow.
During the wintertime, it's usually because we don't get much winter here. We turn our system off. We don't use heat in the summer down here. Maybe 1 30-degree night in the whole winter. We'll throw some logs in the fireplace. Something we never really use in Florida either. Unless we're trying to be romantic or something. And then we'll turn the heat on. But we very rarely use the heat in the wintertime. It's mainly because it's so dry out already. We'll open the windows up, let it get cool through during the day, and then we'll just close everything up at night when it gets into if it gets into the 40s or something. My wife, and it's 40 degrees out, she will leave we have two, opening doors, French doors out of our master bedroom, and she'll leave them open and let it get really chilly we'd like to get underneath the covers, and we like to be a little chilly. We don't get that very often in Florida. So in the summertime, it's all about trying to simulate a chilly night. And 77 is the magic number right now in the summer. As it gets into fall, and we start getting into highs in the like 80 or 78 or something like that. If it's dry enough out, we won't have the AC running at all. We'll just open the windows and just let it be nice inside.
I thought he just meant summer. I can answer for winter too if he meant that also. But I read once somewhere that the ideal sleeping temperature is between 68 and 72.
My system would be running all day, all night to keep those. Mm-hmm. And I have a pretty large house, but I have like almost a six-tier system. It's a big system.
How many well, you don't have to answer, but like I have 3,000 square feet and a single HVAC unit, and it does excellent.
I'm at about 2,800, 2,650, 2,800, somewhere around there, because we did some room additions and stuff. So we're about the same size, but we're single level.
More of the story, don't move to Florida.
We're a single level house. If it was a 2-story house, typically what they do in Florida is they have an extra system that works just the upstairs because of all the heat rising up to there.
We can get that in large houses around here too, is have a double system.
As you get into the ritzy neighborhoods that are 5,000, 10,000 square foot homes, you'll see 2 and 3 systems, huge systems outside, just purring all the time. Energy usage is out of sight in the summer in Florida because we have to live in air conditioning. There's no way we can live. We can't open. There's some people who do. They have to. Don't have AC. Can't afford it. So there's some people who roll down their windows and drive around all day with the windows down. No, we don't do that in the summer. The windows are up and they're tinted. You have to protect yourself when you're down here, man. So it's your air conditioning is life in Florida. And in the wintertime, we open everything up. Whereas you're in the winter, you probably have to turn the heat on. So. Yeah.
Well, we even did in California during the winter. Yeah. I mean, obviously not every night if it was warm during the winter.
Those Southern California nights can get chilly. It's desert country, man.
Well, yeah, we didn't live in the desert, but some areas can for sure. So for during the winter, for what I do is 70 during the day and 66 at night when I'm sleeping.
Like the heat's always on.
Because even though it's 66 is colder than the 68, but heat feels uncomfortable if it goes on too much. So it's like you want to, when you're sleeping, I like to have it at 66 during the winter.
HD Tech was saying, make it warmer at night. No, man, you don't make it warmer at night. You make it cooler at night because then you can sleep. It's a proven fact. If it's cooler, you want to be cooler at night and you'll be able to sleep better. That's a
summer or winter. Yes. You want cooler, if anything, at night than during the day.
Yeah, you don't want to be sweating in bed, man. I sweat in bed. I'm going to be up. I'm going to be like, this too hot. I got to get out of bed. Yeah.
The only reason you would want warmer at night is if it's the winter and then during the day you had it 55 to 60 and you're in a cold temperature.
I swear
maybe put it warmer at night.
My wife would never make it up north. I'll turn the heat on in the wintertime when it gets a little chilly, and my wife will turn it off because the air gets so dry. Because we use, you're using a heat pump to pump out all the moisture. It gets so dry in our house that she'll turn it off. She can't. She can't breathe. Why are you using
heat pumps? You don't just use like a electric or a gas heater.
We have an electric strip, for emergency heating that comes on at first to heat everything up. But then it's all about the heat pump. Heat pumps everything.
I've had central HVAC systems since late 70s, growing up in Southern California throughout my whole life. And I get that it's not always a thing everywhere, but when I say central air, that means the heating is like one of those units that have either gas or electric that a fan blows through.
Right.
So it's not a heat pump. It's just traditional, a fan, and it heats. And then during the winter, there's the compressor outside, the AC that brings in the cool. Right. And then that goes through the central air system too. And I know not all houses can do that, but central air is premier, that's for sure.
Sorry, Fudd. I'm a little new to Twitch. Thank you for that raid, brother. That was nice of you. Hope your show went good. Hope you're streaming. I think you're streaming some gaming tonight. I think you already did your show for the week. Good to see you, brother.
Taco King also. Oh, sorry.
Oh, yeah. Taco King did too?
Taco King also.
Thank you, man. Yeah.
He says 76 if you want to save money, but 68 to 72 during the summer. Right. I mean, that's similar-ish to what I was saying, I usually keep it about 70, but yeah.
Final question tonight is from the original Jimmy Rayner. He says, will we get a stream or vlog from the GDC meet and greet? Yeah, starting a week from tonight, I'll be in the UK for about 8 days, maybe a little longer. And we're going to have a meetup, I think on the 14th. Heyoka has all the details and stuff, but I can't wait to do it, man. I'm actually wearing my first GDC UK meetup t-shirt tonight. I want to show you guys it. This is one of 7 designs I think we have made up. I'm wearing this one tonight, and I'm going to be giving away each one of those designs at the meetup. I'm going to bring them with me. God, my suitcase is just going to be packed. But yeah, I don't think we're going to do any video. I am going to bring my lapel mic, and I think I was talking to Heyoka about this, because we're all going to be kind of eating and talking at the same time, and it might be kind of loud and noisy. It might be really tough to try to get a recording. What I might do though is pull people aside and maybe do it like just a mini interview with them just to get some, maybe just get some audio clips and stuff for a future show. I'll probably put it at the end of one of our future episodes. But, I am going to get some audio. I'm going to try to. We'll just have to see how noisy it is. Is it going to be outside? There's a lot of things you have to take into, consideration when you're trying to record outside. It depends what, everything around is going on. So, I'm hoping to get some audio. So hopefully get some audio clips. We'll definitely get some pictures. I'll be putting all kinds of pictures, meeting everybody there, in the UK. I'll be putting some pictures in our Discord and probably in the Britcord too. And, be sharing a lot of that stuff, but, I'm looking forward to it, man. I'm really looking forward to it. Our British, members of our community are just the nicest people. And I've gamed, I've raided with these people, and, I love them all. They're all so much fun to hang out with. And me and Hayoko are about the same age. I'm not going to tell Hayoko he's my age because I think he's a little bit younger than me, but he's probably about 7 or 8 years older than you, Kingsley. So I know you're about 10 years apart from me. Maybe a little more. And, but him and I are kind of on the same wavelength because we're about the same age. So, we're going to, like I said, I'm going to meet with him and his wife, and my wife, of course, on a Elbow concert before we leave the UK, which I'm really looking forward to seeing that as well. But, I'll have to see how much audio I can pull, and we'll just have to see, where the conditions are. But I am bringing my portable recorder, and I'm going to try to get some footage, at least some audio footage. So, thanks everybody for those questions. Right before we leave, I want to talk about our question of the week. For this week's question, we had a survey. It was, what one feature are you looking forward to hearing about in the new Edge of Fate? Overwhelmingly, it was Armor 3.0. Everyone wants to know about what Armor 3.0 is. Almost 50% of the participants said Armor 3.0 was the one they definitely want to know about. The second place was probably the new storyline. And then I put other, cause I wanted people to comment what they were looking forward to seeing. And you, Kingsley, of course, said size and variability of the new area. Dimly said, other raid. Yes, we know you're going to do a day one raid, Dimly. We're looking forward to that, man. Doras said the most interest, in the story, et cetera, et cetera. However, I want to know about armor and weapon systems to see if I want to be bothered with grinding for it or not. I get that. Deadpool 1 Merc said, I'm interested in seeing the new story and how the progression will be. We kind of talked about that tonight. I hope that it's not lackluster. I hope they can keep us entertained. Ronan Red Lion, I'm interested in how they're going to incorporate non-linear exploration into the campaign. Good point. Some of the best moments in Destiny have been things that players stumble across and weren't led to by waypoints, like the early Whisper mission. Not saying the campaign has to be all RNG secrets, but letting players figure things out a little more would feel more immersive than Quest Step X says go here. Hey everyone, as I take my mandatory bathroom break, I'd like to thank our Patreon community for giving back and continue to help out a listener-supported podcast like this one. If you've received any value for today's episode and want to give back, check out GuardianDownCast.com and select the Patreon button to learn more about it. Now let's return to the conversation. And yes, I did wash my hands. Later, Guardian. I want to give a special shout out to our patrons of the show. Because they give back to the show and our community, they replace all the funds that we would otherwise have to get from sponsors and advertisers. And I hate advertisers. I don't want any advertisers in my show other than the ones we make for our community. So if you see them in the Discord, hit them up, tell them thanks for supporting our community. Quick shout out to our Dungeon Champion patron. That's Deadpool 1 Merc. Thank you to our Raid Boss patrons. That's Jealous, Frostbite, and Amazing Taco King for giving back to the show and community in a huge way. Again, thanks to all the patrons. Remember that all our Patreon funds go right back into our community as well. Some final thoughts to wrap up the show this week. Let the Destiny Infosplosion begin, right? I'm sure there's going to be lots more that Bungie will be sharing with us in the future, TWABs, but I like the idea of targeted power grind and targeted farming for new weapons. Respecting our time played is what I've always wished for versus the, oh, hey, jump into a bunch of Crucible matches and hope for the best scenario. So what do you think? Let us know in our Discord. You can go to discord.gg/GuardianDownCast. Give us some feedback in our GDC feedback channel. And don't forget to say hi while you're there, by the way. Our community has always been very welcoming to all our new members. So don't hesitate to jump in with like-minded Destiny gamers out there. You can also give feedback via email, guardiandowncast@gmail.com. Talk to us in the Discord. Or send us a voicemail. Just go to guardiandowncast.com and hit the send voicemail button. I love voicemails. Don't be shy. Next week, actually in the next 2 weeks, I will still be releasing episodes as we always have for nearly 6 years now, but these episodes will be a little different than what you're used to. And I really hope you enjoy them. Please give me some feedback once you do hear them as well. I'm always trying to improve in all aspects of this game we call life, right? Anyway, remember, before I leave the country, I will be a guest on the Potato Thumbs podcast this Tuesday, June 10th. And they don't do live shows or anything, but Fluffy does usually release the episode pretty quickly soon after. So look out for that episode, as it'll be more of a personal conversation, just chilling out and talking video games and some other stuff that I might be mentioning as well. I'll also try to remember to put it in our announcement channel of our Discord and give you guys some links to check out as well. Some really great friends, and they've been podcasting much longer than me. Just remember, that's Potato Thumbs Podcast on all your podcast apps out there. I hope you all have a great week ahead, and I'm sure to send some pictures from the UK GDC meetup, and hopefully I'll get some audio as well. Well, that's a wrap. Another episode in our collection. For our listeners out there, we have 306 other episodes with interviews from gamers all over our community, talking Destiny and, well, whatever comes up on our roundtable episodes. So take a look at those, especially if you're just finding out about us. And if you like what you hear, tell a friend about us. Just say, hey, go hit up guardiandowncast.com. A very special thanks to my co-host, Kingsleymac. You can find him in our Discord. Also, I'll have his links in the show notes as well if you'd like to follow him. You can contact me, ToddtheGatr, 2Ds, Gatr, across all the socials and gaming platforms out there. You can also reach me via email at guardiandowncast@gmail.com. Remember, as you're playing Final Shape Ride of the Nine, take breaks, get outside, and touch some grass, Ralphie. Hey everyone, remember, we're Guardian Downcast, your stories, your community, and your destiny. And be good to your fellow Guardians in the Destinyverse.
The weight of the world was on your shoulders, and still you triumphed. Marvelous.
Thank you all so very much for listening. And later, Guardian. But yeah, that's our show, guys. We appreciate everyone who stopped by tonight. And, like I say, I'm going to be in the UK next week, next week's show. Actually Tuesday, I want to mention this first. On the 10th, I'm going to be on the Potato Thumbs podcast. So, give those guys some love. Definitely check those guys out. I'm going to be talking one-on-one with Fluffy and Airball Nips. And I'm definitely going to prep better so I can talk. But I'm really looking forward to talking with those guys. I haven't talked with them in a long time. And what I love about their show is just free-flowing conversation and just going from there. And I did have an important announcement. I'm gonna break it on their show live. We're going to pre-record it, but it's going to be on their show. And then, of course, I'm going to immediately announce it in our Discord too. So look for that. But hey, check out that episode. Give them some love. Check out the Potato Thumbs podcast. It's just like the way it says, Potato Thumbs Podcast. You can look for it on all your podcast apps out there. I'm really looking forward to talking with those guys. And then, of course, 2 days later, I'm on a plane. So 8-hour flight. I'm not really good with planes. So I think Amazing Taco King said a whiskey might work. I might bring a little flask. We'll see. But, I got to get past, security and all that good stuff. Mr. Lazarus, the Lich. Laz. Let me do it again. I want to go Mr. Anderson. All right, here we go.